the weather? It's going to be low in the 40s today with a high in the upper 80s. And
I'm
we
getting
are
out shooting next
live.
week.
What's that, Jim? What's going down?
I'm shooting in that weather next week.
Whew, are we all? Hey, guys, and on that note, welcome to Caliber Corner episode number 59. It's going to be a good time here. So today, guys, we have our second annual Fall Deer Hunt Pumpkin Spice Edition episode of Caliber Corner. Why is it pumpkin spice? Well, let me explain the analogy real quick.
Because we're trendy.
That's no. What it is it's for us grown men with dad bods. As soon as we take our wives out and they smell that pumpkin spice and get those overpriced lattes, that smell hits your brain. It triggers this carnal instinct that makes you want to go to the hunting section at Walmart and just see what's on sale. And so that's why this is the pumpkin spice edition. Everything else is pumpkin spice in the fall. Why not this show? Why not? There's nothing pumpkin spice in the house right now except for a Twinkie upstairs, and that's it. So I apologize. But otherwise, guys, all right, so deer chat, deer hunt. We're going to talk all things deer. Not so much from the processing end, and the only reason why is because we've done 1 or 2 episodes of Caliber Corner where all we talked about was how to process the deer, what to do with the deer, how to, what tools you need, whatever, what knives you need to use, and all that fun stuff. So we're not going to do so much with processing, more about the firearms, the calibers, some basic laws, camo, fun stuff like that, whatever works for you, whatever it goes to. So you guys in the chat, over on the gun channel side and YouTube side, please feel free to chime in with whatever questions you got. So let's go ahead and start off with my right. Squib is in the house. Squib, what's new in your world, buddy?
Good morning. Yeah. I'll link to the draw on the mute button there.
That's all good, man.
I'm packing up all my gear right now to head out to Dusty's farm.
Cool.
I'm going to go sight in the Henry. I changed out the rear sight from a buckhorn to a peep sight. And I'll be scouting out my hunting blind at the back of this property.
Nice. What are you going to be taking with you? You got anything fun lined up for today?
No, I had to change out the front sight on my son's AR-15, so I'm going to take that and see if I can sight it in. I had problems with the wrong front sight on there, and hopefully this is the correct one. And I'll take the 1911. Oh, I'm going to take my walker. Maybe I'll chrono my walker. Hawaii Volcano Squad wants to know exactly how many feet per second comes out of a big black powder gun. Only thing is, last time I used Dusty's chronograph, I shot it twice. So I got to be real careful.
That's the danger, man. That's the danger of live ammo.
Yeah.
Oh,
so either I'm going to have a successful day or I'm never going to get invited there again.
Yeah, you might want to check those sights. You might be off a couple inches on that one. I don't know.
Oh, no. What I was doing is I was looking downrange at the target and not looking at the chronograph right in front of me. I think that's what I was doing. Because sometimes you just shoot through them just to get your reading.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not messing with you. Yeah, no, it's too easy because you're not focused on what you're looking at. Yeah. Well, when you're too focused on what you're looking at. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well, thanks for being with us today. So, Squib, where can we find you? If people want to check you out on YouTube or gunchannels.com, where should they go?
Well, I've got a YouTube channel with videos. It's not all gun videos because I had somebody accuse me of just being all about guns and nothing else, and it got me thinking. What
else is there?
Yeah. Yeah, what? No,
I'm just kidding.
It got me thinking, and it made me decide that I'd put up videos of other things that I like. But the thing is, though, if you type in Squibload 2 words on YouTube, my Josie Wills avatar don't pop up right away. You got to scroll down. I don't know, like 3 pages in. Yesterday, I was at the gun store, and I asked the owner if I could take some footage. And what for? By the way, I put up YouTube videos. Oh, really? Let's look up your channel. How embarrassing. I don't see it. We'll scroll down some. I still don't see it.
Yeah, it's called more. 1-1. Nobody has to know, Squib. Nobody has to know. Well, you don't look like that guy. Oh, war changes a man, Oh, damn. All right, man. Well, that's good. Hey, you're out there. You're about. People can check you out. People can. You're on a lot of chats, so if they want to follow you, they can. It's pretty easy to find you. Good stuff.
Yeah, last night we were supposed to do budget guns and gear reviews, 7 p.m. Eastern chat, but he rescheduled that to Sunday, so that didn't happen. But I get to hang out on this chat, and Monday Monday at 11 p.m. Eastern, I'll be on Hawaii Volcano Squad's Lock and Load, and
All right.
Wednesday, Rick's Life as I See It, and I won't steal Night Strikes Thunder in case he pops in later.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Sandhills is,
Yeah.
2 weeks from now he's doing, yeah. So, yeah, I'm weaseling into shows all over the place.
Rock on, man. Rock on. Well, thanks for being with us, man. As always, I appreciate it. You've been with us, I think, since the beginning, you and Tony, and appreciate you guys being on all the episodes and stuff. Those of you that can make it, it's good to have you here. All right, so Sandhills, what is new in your world, buddy? What's going on? Oh, checking the audio.
And he went orange.
He went pumpkin spice. He's going pumpkin spice. All right, so Sandhills, what's new, buddy? What do you know? Oh,
I think he's drowning in pumpkin spice.
We lost him. We lost him.
All right, so Sandhills, we'll come back to you. Matt, what's new in your world, bud?
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the hunting episode of Pumpkin Spice.
I'd just like to address two things. One,
yes.
When it comes to Twinkies, it is banana Twinkie or nothing. They are the best. I don't care about your regular Twinkies, your pumpkin spice Twinkies. I don't care about your crocodile Twinkies. Banana Twinkies are the bomb, and they're all that matters. Yes, Squib, I also feel your pain when people love to come and tell you what you should do with your channel. Except for me, it's quite the opposite. They don't tell me that I should be doing other things than guns. They just say, "Just stick to guns, asshole." That's usually what I get.
I didn't think that they were. I didn't really think that they were telling me what to do with my channel. It was before I started making videos. It was when I was on all the live shows, and I guess on the live shows I wasn't talking about things other than the subject on the live show, and it just got me thinking. I can get all mad or I could use that, and I decided to use it as constructive criticism to try to, decide what I wanted to put on my channel because I had people you should make videos, you should make, why? And if you'd see my videos, you'd be like, no, dude, you really shouldn't be making videos. But yeah, it's a lot easier to say stuff in the comments than it is to sit there for 10 hours and edit a 10-minute video. So
yeah, I hear you. So Matt, where can we find your channel? What kind of content you got out there? What's good? What's going on?
Oh man, I have god-awful content that I just don't think you'll be able to find. It's horrible. It's bad. I think I talk about tranny hookers or something. I don't know. No, but
I don't know. Wait. Isn't that Yankees channel? Yankee Marshall's channel?
I don't know. Between the two of us, I think we've discussed it.
Just curious.
But no. Of course, there is the whole strike not strike on my channel right now. So if you want to watch the live streams, you got to go subscribe to Mr. Matt. Which is insane, spending 45 minutes talking to some guy from YouTube who can't explain why you don't have a strike on your channel or copyright notices on your channel, but you still have a copyright claim on your channel. So you can't live stream for 90 days, which isn't even their rule. Copyright claims are supposed to only be 30 days, but he's telling me 90. YouTube doesn't know what its ass is doing from its face. I don't know. It's whatever. Anyway, I'll be on Mr. Matt. So there you go.
All right. Most of us that are with you over on your NEA channel are also over on Mr. Matt too. A lot of us are. So yeah, just check that out. You guys can find the chats. They'll be over there until we get things figured out. So, all right. Okay. Sandhills, we'll come back to you. What's going on, man? You got you got your audio turned on. You ready to rock?
All right. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, yes. We're good, man. Yes.
I had my settings all wrong, camera and microphone and all that. So
yeah, man.
Trying to rebuild this studio in here. I just wanted to point out it's game day.
Huskers?
I do have the flag up there.
Is that the Backstreet Boys behind you? I can't tell. What FGL Life? What is that?
That is my wife's. This office was hers before I took over a corner, so I'm slowly but surely trying to edge out some of the girly stuff and some of the Florida Georgia line guys.
Yeah, it looks like a boy band.
Okay,
they claim to be country music, but I don't know.
They're kind of
what you do is every week you move everything out 1 inch, and you just do it a week at a time. She won't notice.
There you go.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
I'll try that. Yeah, you can find me on the Sandhills Shooter channel on YouTube, gun channels, guntube.org, Gunstreamer, Facebook, all the fun places. Like Squib said, I will be starting up a show here. I'm not able to do it again this Tuesday because I've already got plans to be out of town, even out of the state for a couple days. But the next Tuesday available is actually the 2nd of October. So I can't think of a better time to do 2A Tuesday than on 2 October. So we'll do an Every Second Matters chat, and it'll be 9 o'clock Central Time, the only time zone that matters, on Tuesday night, October 2nd.
Thank you for pointing that out, by the way.
All right.
Sounded like a bunch of Central Time Zone static to me.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Yeah,
So
you can move to the good time zone anytime you want to. We'd gladly take you over here.
We are
Hey.
in the center of the universe, after all.
this is true. Everything rotates around us, and it is flat. Everywhere I look, it's totally flat. So everything has to rotate around us. Yeah.
We got to
That's
get you
all.
out of that river
We're
valley.
the center of the flat
Yeah.
Earth.
Okay. So Santos, quick question: do you have to take off and go to work today? Are you going to be with us for the chat today?
I am planning on being with you for the duration, unless it goes
Nice.
until 11 o'clock, in which case I'm going to
'Cause-
bail on you for a kickoff.
Dude, this is no. Well, yeah, no. Hopefully we done by then. I don't know. We took it for 2.5 hours last week. I mean, who knows how these guys do these like 7-hour chats? I think they just turn the camera on and just live their lives, and it just happens when it happens. I don't know how you guys do it. I admire that. So
I'm just curious, the guys that are doing those long chats, do they have wives at all?
no, that's not possible. No way. At least at some point in those 7 hours, you're going to be interrupted to do something like take out the trash.
There are so many more shows that I would love to do, but again, I mean, just in the interest of keeping everything civil at home and keeping the family life, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
And we've got too much going on, and I was trying to get on too many shows for a while. I was trying to do too much,
Yeah.
and it was actually affecting us. So
Yeah.
Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings are pretty much the only times you're going to be likely to see me on live shows, unless something happens and we get bored driving, and maybe we'll kick the camera on. But
All right.
for the most part, I've just tried to dial back a little bit and
Yeah.
not make so many videos. And unless I'm, if I'm driving alone, that's one thing. If we're in the car together and we're doing family stuff or whatever, then we'll probably not do that as much.
Now the real question is, does the live chats affect you more than having some stranger rub up on you on karaoke? I'm just like, which while you're live streaming to your wife.
That
I'm
was
just-
a live broadcast, and so it's all
I
the
forgot
same.
about
It's all
that.
the same.
Tulsa hijinks. Oh my God. Yeah, we're not gonna.
I thought what
that-
happened in Tulsa stayed in Tulsa, man.
Those videos have been removed, right? They're not
And
anymore.
what happened in Tulsa stays on YouTube.
Yeah. What happens tonight shows up on Facebook
At any
tomorrow.
given moment, there might have been 3 different live streams going from any given room where we were all meeting. So if you go back
Oh,
and find
man.
all the people that met up together this year in Tulsa and watch all of their channels, I mean, you're going to see a whole bunch of, I won't say it's high quality, but it is high entertainment value.
Discount shenanigans is what you're gonna get right there.
Ooh, that should be a live stream.
Discount shenanigans. That's right. That's right. You watch us regress to our
that
middle
might
school
be
days.
an idea for another show.
Yeah, there you
Discount
go.
shenanigans where we just do stupid stuff. God knows we'll get more views if we do something pointless on YouTube than if we try to change the world, right?
There's
Yeah.
three
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do things. I'm just gonna like shoot pudding cups or just like blow up boxes of mac and
But
cheese.
if
with
you add
Tannerite.
if you add the word discount or budget into the title, it just shoots up even more. So
It does. So Tannerite, imitation Tannerite on a budget. We'll just shoot like packages of craft cream, cheese mix or whatever.
No. What you
Oh,
gotta do,
shit, yeah.
Travis, is go get some Shasta Pop or something cheap like that, for
my
like
God.
a
Did they still
dime.
make
Holy
Shasta?
hell, you're
Yeah.
taking me
Shake
back.
them up and then
Shasta.
shoot them, and it's just like Tannerite.
I haven't had Shasta since like 1991.
I know. I think they quit
They
making
still
that
make
with lime,
I
lemon
haven't
lime
had
cement
Shasta
slice.
since like 1977.
I'm
Remember
pretty sure you can
Slice?
still do the
I
I
used
used
high
to love that
Shasta.
lemon lime Shasta. That was
Oh God, now I'm
that.
turning into a food chat. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. So Jim, what is new in your world? We got deer to hunt. Jim, what's going on, man?
Maybe I will hunt some deer this year. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, after this episode, you're probably going to get that itch. Isn't it ironic that the Cabela's catalog or Bass Pro Shops always shows up about a week before payday? You ever notice that? It just kind of makes its way into your mailbox. It's like, ooh.
Man, I just bought like 1,500 rounds of ammo. If I buy anything else,
Oh
but
God. I know. I got. Did you go with 762 by 39 and 5.56, or what'd you end up buying?
I bought 7.62. I bought 5.56. I actually tried a little steel case this time. Let's see how it shoots.
That's well, I mean, depending on what you're running it through. I'm actually in the market for 1,000 rounds of 7.62 by 39. I've been seeing $195, $197 delivered at most places right now for Wolf or Tula.
Steel case is fine. Steel case is fine if you're running it through a bolt action, if you're running it through an AK, an SKS, or an AR that has a decent bolt carrier group assembly. If you're running through a cheap, like get something nice, 158 Carpenter steel, that kind of, get a good bolt, and you shouldn't have a problem with steel case in the AR.
Keep
probably good to go then.
Inside of it clean too. Scrub the heck out of it when you're done.
That and another 1,000 rounds of handgun ammo because I shoot a lot of that stuff on Thursdays.
Yep. Tacos and French fries is saying now's the time to buy before the next election. Oh God, yeah. Right now, ammo prices are as low as I think you're going to see anywhere. I mean, they're so cheap. I mean, and the funny part is it's almost cheaper for me to go to Walmart than it is to order online for quite a few calibers. I mean, there's many times where I can save a couple bucks if I buy online, and I'm not. Other than like 7.62 by 39, I mean, 5.56 is about the same price, and 9mm brass is just dirt cheap right now too. So.
Well, I actually spent money I wasn't anticipating because I was just surfing LAX ammo, and the guys popped up a free shipping offer on the screen. I was like, well, hell, it's time to buy.
That, and then with us, we don't have to pay sales tax on internet purchases. So for us, we do for Amazon. We do for places that make you charge sales tax, but most of the online firearms places don't charge it. So I can get the 1,000 rounds and save, $25, $30 versus paying $200 or $300 plus out of pocket. So for me, a lot of times I'll do an online ammo purchase. I mean, I can save money on a single box. That's the sad part if I can get free shipping with it. Yeah. Well, Jim, this would be a good episode for you. What's that?
Is anybody worried about Russian, what do you call it, sanctions, 7.62?
The thing is, we haven't seen anything because Tula still comes in, Wolf still comes in. And you know what? They probably shift that stuff to another country like a Bulgaria or something and export it from there or make it there. With all these sanctions going on, it must just be the firearms, because with the ammo and then like the 5.45 ban or whatever, I don't notice it. I mean, Tula's plentiful, Wolf is plentiful online everywhere, so there must not be any bans going into effect.
There's something supposed to happen in November that I keep hearing about. I need to look it up.
So
I'm sure Trump and Putin have taken care of that, on one of their fishing trips or some shit, right?
Because I don't want to have to scounge one of their bear hunts.
Yeah, one of their bare-chested bear hunts.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, we don't want to pay a buck around for brass case stuff in the U.S.
No, it's because that's anytime I do the test with brass 7.62, it's expensive. I think I spend
which is sad. I mean, why haven't more ammo companies, U.S. ammo companies, why haven't they started to actively manufacture 7.62? I mean, they could compete if they wanted to. They could compete with the steel case crap that's coming in. If it was just a little more expensive for brass 7.62, we'd all go, well, it's brass, so why not? They do it with 5.56. They do it with They do it with the 223 because you can get cheap steel cased import Wolf, Tula, all that kind of stuff. And still, a lot of us will go and buy American or whatever. We'll buy the brass case stuff. So why don't they do the same with 7.62? Why is it it's like they just don't want to manufacture that ammo in enough of a quantity to drive the price down? They're just like, well, there's so much cheap stuff coming in overseas, why bother? But we'll offer some brass case 7.62. We're going to make it ridiculously expensive.
May I insert my opinion to why I think that is?
Do it, man.
I honestly don't think it's a sales point of view. I think it's more of a mechanical point of view. Most of the time when people make 7.62 by 39, they assume that it's going to go into an AK style pattern rifle. And now granted, there's more rifles that are chambered in 7.62 by 39, like your Mini 14s, your Howell Mini Actions, your insert other gun here. But when you run brass case through an AK style rifle, usually an off-the-shelf AK rifle will have the gas port drilled slightly oversized, so it means the gun itself is overgassed. And with the action being as violent as it is, there's more of a chance that it will have a case head separation with brass case than it will with steel case. because steel has a much higher tensile strength. Sure, steel case can be a lot thinner than brass case, but it's still going to be stronger because of that crystalline structure. Whereas brass, when it heats up, it softens, and as soon as you you put that shock to it, when it ejects so hard, it could separate the case head.
Well, that's possibility. Now, granted, the 762 brass that I fired has only been through the Ruger Ranch. I don't think I've ever fired brass ammo through my MD63. And you know what? Honestly, you don't. For me, at like the local Walmart, they might have a box of Winchester white box, full metal jacket, just target 762 by 39 ammo on the shelf. They might. I don't have a lot of choices, so I really haven't had a chance to test a lot of it out there. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, and that's expensive stuff. That's sad. That's a box of 20 is $17.99 at Walmart for that brass ammo. That's the same price as 3030. I mean, it's crazy. That's almost what I paid for like 243. You know, I mean, it's nuts that it's that expensive, and it's not.
And that's exactly why I have absolutely zero brass 762 in my stash. None. I don't.
I only buy for testing and hunting, and that's all it's going to be for me. And actually, for hunting, I'm not even going to buy this. I'm going to get the Hornady Steel Case SST for deer season this winter.
I went to an indoor range once where they would only let you shoot brass case ammo, so I bought a couple of packs of Federal, and I was like, oh, screw this.
Yeah, it's because they want the brass. They want it for themselves.
You guys would have all brass ammo if you reloaded your 7.62 by 39, and then you could stick it to them because you could do that cheaper than buying the steel case. Just saying.
Yep.
Yeah. I reload 7.62 by 39, but when I do shoot it, I usually have a gas cutoff for some of my rifles, or I just take the gas piston out if it's something that I'm doing load development on.
Yeah. Hey, we still got to run down the panel intros real quick, so yeah, we're already getting into an ammo talk. David, what's going on, man? Welcome back for another week. What is new in your world, and what can we find on your channel, buddy?
Not too much. Thanks for having me. I'm going to be putting up my 308 updates. I was putting the lower together last night and had a couple issues, so it's going to be delayed.
Okay.
But I'll put out some more content this week and see what happens.
All right, cool. So guys, you can check out his channel. What's the name of your channel?
David Bowling, just DAVIDBOWLING, just my name.
A lot of good videos out there. Check out his channel, and he's got a growing channel, which is really good. So definitely support him. If you're a fan of Ruger, that is the way to go.
Oh yeah, I passed 100 subscribers yesterday, I think it was, or the day before.
All right, cool.
So that's pretty cool. Thank you to everybody for that.
It'll start to pick up quick. You'll start to see the numbers increase as you put out your content and get yourself out there and stuff. So good. All right, and AWAG, last but not least, man, what's going on?
Oh, yeah, nothing much. Just busy tearing down the engine of my car. We're going to get in car talk a little bit. Yeah, I got everything off the top end of the engine to start removing the head because blew a head gasket. Yeah, so not fun, but at the same time, I'm learning more about my car and finding more and more of its demons per se.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna rebuild that engine, or are you just gonna? Did you say you're gonna buy a JDM engine and drop it in there? Or are you gonna go buy what's the plan for the motor?
I thought about putting a JDM engine in. I'm just gonna repair the engine that I got because, to tell you the truth, there's nothing really wrong with the engine that I have other than the head gasket blew. So
well, you got to get all that antifreeze out of the block and all the where it leaked into the seals and everything and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, I'm gonna replace the radiator too because it's obviously 30 years old and it's developed small cracks.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey man, good luck with your endeavors on that. And guys, you check out AWAG 1000's channel. Good stuff. Cool, man. Appreciate you being with us today. So one thing we haven't done yet was take attendance. I think we're going to go ahead and do that because we got a lot of people with us today. So real quick over on the gun channel side, let's see who's joining us. We have got Raphael over there. Good morning, Raphael. Patrick's over there. Paper Plane Crash is with us too. I see a couple of our guys are over there on the chats for gunchannels.com. So guys, get over to gunchannels.com. Sign up for a free account if you don't have one. That's an awesome community to belong to. It's a great way to get to meet people, a good way to get answers if you got questions on firearms and so on. And over here, finally, we can see who's with us. We got Tim Foley over here, 2 Live Moo, Ricky Williams in the house. What's up, Mr. Scary? That's a new one. Scott P79, Tacos and French Fries is with us. Rich White's with us, of course. Angry Americans out there. Good morning, Angry. Man, it's awfully early for you, Angry. Sandhill Shooter's out there. He's here. Stan Vodenall's with us, the man behind SS Pond. Let's see here. Ozzy Osbourne is out there. Good morning, Ozzy. Rob D in the house. Philo, what's going on, Fee? And Philly Rope out there. Rob D, if I didn't mention it before. NEA's out there, and NEA's here today. Let's see. Michael BOWLES. Bowles? All right, Michael Bowles is out there. AWAG is there and here. Zinger. Yeah, a lot of people. Tardot's with us. WB. Good to see you guys. Furry Fighter M1991's with us too. And I think that's about it. Midnight Range TM in the house, one of the first ones here. And Sam of Anarchy 92. Whew, man. All right, this is intense. So, all right, so when it comes to the deer chat, I wrote down a few things that I think we need to talk about. Just so you guys know, we've done past episodes of Caliber Corner on processing the deer, what to do with it, ideas, recommendations for what you need for to process the deer and so on. So we won't really do so much with that because we've got a really good episode on it. We're focused more on the laws, calibers, ammunition, optics, all that fun stuff, maybe some camo ideas and so on. So when it comes to deer hunting, the first thing you need to do is you need to get yourself the regulation book if you've never done it before. Look through it, see what the requirements are. I've got the Nebraska deer regs list on standby. Like, for example, if you think you're going to take your 22 LR out there and go bag Bambi, which you might be able to do, for example, in Nebraska, you got to have at least 900 foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards. Now, it says you can shoot with 22 caliber or larger rifles, but I don't know anybody that hunts deer with 22 LR, and I think that might be illegal. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. It's got to be center. Oh, it's got to be center fire. Okay. So, but then even if you go up there, those smaller 22 caliber rounds just may not have the energy that it needs to take down a deer. So first thing you got to know is you got to know the regulations, you got to know the rules, read through it, understand it. Like in Nebraska, if you're born after January of 1977, if I'm not mistaken, and I was born in March of 77, you have to have a hunter safety course in order to do a deer hunting, in order to hunt deer after a certain age, if you're not with your family, if you're not on a youth permit. So there's a lot of little things that get in the way. Also know, again, what the calibers are that you can hunt with. Know what kind of weapon you're allowed to hunt with. In Nebraska, you can either do slugs through a shotgun if you want to, or you can use a handgun as long as it is 6 rounds or less. And you can also use your long rifle, your firearms, your rifle, semi-automatic or bolt action, as long as you don't have more than 6 rounds in the gun. That'd be 5+1. So again, you need to know what the type of weapon is, because a lot of you guys, like I think in Iowa and maybe some places on the East Coast, you're going to be limited to slug hunting. Sandhills, do you want to chime in on that at all? Because you've got a lot of experience with this too. Anything about laws, anything to kind of keep into consideration or things you should know?
Well, the only thing I can speak for is Nebraska law.
Yeah.
I have noticed here in the last couple of years, they've changed that regulation a little bit as far as legal firearms.
Mm-hmm.
Because the minimum requirement for a rifle is 900 foot-pounds at 100 yards. The minimum requirement for a pistol is 400 foot-pounds, I believe, at 50 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a couple of years ago, it used to be such that if you had like a Henry lever in 357 or 45 Colt, that you couldn't shoot a deer with your rifle because that wasn't putting out 900 foot-pounds at 100 yards. Now, if you put those same loads into a pistol, it only had to put out 400 foot-pounds at 50 yards. So 357 and 45 Colt used to be legal in a pistol and not in a rifle. Now there's a special provision at the end of that paragraph that says 357 or 45 Colt rifles are legal. So that's kind of nice that they've opened that up, because a lot of people were complaining that, I've got this lever gun and it's dumb that I can't shoot a deer with it, even though it's putting out more energy than it does in my pistol.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's pretty cool. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but you can crossbow hunt during rifle season, I believe, in Nebraska. But crossbows, I think, have been opened up to archery now too. So
yeah, crossbows, you have to be legally listed or registered as handicap in order to crossbow hunt in Nebraska, and they've since changed it. And don't forget, they also added spears about 2 years ago. You can't hunt deer with spears in Nebraska. So if you want that Lord of the Flies experience, come on down. We got you covered, baby.
The only provision is a spear has to be hand thrown. It can't be mechanically thrown. And I
no, a giant crossbow. Ugh, you launch it off the back of your pickup. You know.
I think that would be cool, but I don't know that counts as hand thrown.
No.
And it has to be during archery season. You can't spear hunt, I don't think, during rifle season. That's an archery. That's an archery thing there.
Go ahead.
Jim's talking about season choice, and I don't know if very many states do this, but Nebraska has a different kind of permit. You've got your regular permit. It's good for 9 days in November with your rifle.
Yep,
and you go out there and hunt with your rifle. You know, those days, if you shoot buck or whatever, you know, that's what you get. If you want to hunt archery, then you got to get a different tag. If you want to hunt black powder, you got to get a different tag. We have what we call a season choice, that you buy one permit, so you only spend the money one time, and then it's good for every season. So if you take that permit out with your bow starting in September when the season opens up, then you can do that. And then if you haven't filled your tag, then you can still hunt that permit with a rifle during rifle season. And in the month of December, you can hunt with a muzzle loader if you still haven't filled your tag. And then there's a second chance season in January, the first 15 days of January, where you can go back out with a centerfire rifle and hunt. But the provision on that is it's antlerless only. So if you have a season choice, you can spend the money on just one permit, hunt all year, but you can't trophy hunt. You can't shoot a buck with it.
Yeah.
So it's got to be antlerless.
Yeah, we've got, I mean, it's not confusing. The Nebraska laws are pretty straightforward, but we've got, 5 or 6 different choices. And then there's stuff if you're a landowner, and there's private land, and then there's certain regions and certain types and things like that. So that definitely is nice to have those options when you come out here.
But the cool thing is that that you can do that. So that's what you and I are talking about, is that second chance season in January. Just brush up on your deer species, because where we're going to be, you cannot shoot an antlerless mule deer. You can only shoot antlerless whitetail.
Yeah.
So make sure you can tell at a distance what you're looking at.
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing too.
Muley doe are legal. It just depends on the unit you're in.
Yeah. Depends on where you are. And again, so that's why it's good to get that. And they usually give away those deer hunting regulation books. Walmart has them. They got stacks of them. If you go up to Walmart, go back to the sporting goods department. You can also download them online for most of your natural resources departments too. You can get them also. Another thing I like about the Nebraska book, and I'm sure they do this in the other states too, is they show you how many permits were issued or how many are available for each region. And then they give you last year's success rate. So you might be able to kind of see a trend in certain areas where there's a higher percentage of success for getting that deer. But I would say overall, we're definitely up there in high percentages for people that get their deer on opening season or opening day within the first, 9 days of long rifle season in November. So, definitely know the regions. You might want to go out and do a little bit of scouting of the region you're going to be in ahead of time. Trail cams are always a good idea. Ask around at like the local firearm store if you've got some hunters in there talking rifles. There's also going to be Facebook groups that'll be out there, different groups you can join if you want to know where the bucks are and the does and all that fun stuff. But again, you start looking at land. A lot of places don't have a lot of public land. Nebraska has 250 wildlife reserves that are open to the public that you can hunt on across the state. And there's a lot of private land. There's a lot of farmers that lease out their land for contracts, and people come in from out of state and so on. So make sure, obviously, you need to know the land that you're going to be hunting on, where you're allowed to hunt, and all that fun stuff. Let's just open it up for a few minutes. You guys just want to chime in with deer hunts in general? Matt, Jim, David, AWAC?
I've never been on a deer hunt.
Okay.
Why is there different seasons for different types of implements? Like, why can't you rifle hunt during bow season? Why is that a thing?
With your archery guys, they're going to be wearing full camo and no blaze orange, and they can be on the ground. They can be up in a tree. You're not going to see them. And so if you're going to be out with your firearm, you have to have at least 400 square inches of blaze orange on you when you're out, or a type of orange camo when you're out for the firearm season so people can see you. Unfortunately, having those public grounds also means that a lot of people go out there. And so when I shot my first deer, and I've only been deer hunting for probably 10 or 12 years, and that's it, until I moved out here. And even then I still had to take the hunter safety class. First time I got it, it was on public land. It was a very popular area just south of where I live, right off the interstate. And I'm not kidding you, there's probably 6 to 8 guys that came out of the woods to look at the deer that I shot. And what's scary about that is, okay, we're all in a circle shooting in the same direction. That's a little scary. And I didn't see any of these guys until they came out of the woods to see what we got. Like, hey, what'd you get? And it's like, okay, you're over there and you're over there. We're all looking at the same deer. It's a little scary. So you got to have that blaze orange on for one thing. But yeah, the archery guys are going to be up in the trees or on the ground. And so that's why they don't mix the seasons. That's why they'll let you use certain weapons during certain times of the year. It's just for safety reasons.
I guess that would be the same reason you can't use rifle very much, because the pass through.
Yeah, you guys that are on the East Coast, and I noticed like in Iowa, there's so many, it's so dense with farms and populations and villages and townships. In Nebraska, that's not the situation. In Nebraska, you can look and you've got 50 miles of nothing. We've got long rifle, or you can use shotgun, slug shotgun if you want to. Guys will use long rifle in dense woods when they're hunting, because you might be going along a riverbank and there's a clearing where the deer might run out and you can go get it then too. So here we do allow the long rifle because we've got the wide open spaces. I mean, we've only got a few big cities in Nebraska where the majority of the population lives. 75% of the state is pretty desolate and open. I mean, just in general, you've got small population centers. So that's why they allow but you're right. I mean, the fact that your round can go for miles, or a mile or whatnot. I mean, that's another one of the reasons why I think a lot of states don't allow the firearm, the long rifle, rifle calibers instead of slugs. So yeah.
Or you can come to Texas and you can just wear a ghillie suit and shoot a fucking 6.5 Creedmoor for 3 miles and nobody cares.
This is true. Oh, it's the same situation here. My range goes out to 2,000 yards. I mean, it's open for you if you want to go have fun. Yeah, exactly. Now, Matt, you said in Texas you guys have most of your land is private, so if you want to,
yeah, it's expensive to hunt. It's unfortunate because there's a lot of good places out here, but I mean, we have. God, what is it? The percentage? It's minuscule, the percentage of state-owned land in Texas. And so if you want to go hunting, you're on somebody's property. You're paying for a lease or, a weekend hunt or whatever it may be. Which is unfortunate because, I don't trophy hunt. I could give a crap about that. I hunt for meat.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I go hunting when I do go hunting. That is the ultimate goal of it. And so you have to do like a cost analysis. Like, is it more expensive for me to go hunting on this land with how much I'm going to pay than I could just take that same amount of money and go buy meat at the store? So you have to take that into consideration, which is honestly why I don't hunt as much as some of my friends do, because they love to get out there and they love to hunt, and I do too. But I have to take that into consideration. I'm not just going out there because this is a fun weekend for me. There's a goal at the end of it. And if it doesn't make sense, if I'm paying $500 to go sit out, which I wouldn't do, but if, there's some of these leases, it's like $500 for a 3-day weekend. Well, if I get, one deer that whole weekend, then I've lost money. The amount of meat I'm going to get off that one deer, take the same $500 plus gas, plus everything else that it costs to do that for a weekend. I'm better off just going to the store, going to a butcher or something, you know what I mean? So, it's one of those things that's just part of living in Texas, I guess.
It's funny, as I was talking to a few guys from gun channels a couple of years ago on Tuesday night, on Hit or Miss Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, I remember there were a few guys that were on there that were hunters that used to be on a night strike. And I said, it'd be cheaper for you to drive up to Nebraska, buy an out-of-state permit, get a ginormous buck, and drive back home than less of the price of the lease. Because I think our out-of-state permits might be a little over $100, $100 gas, $200 gas. You can get your deer and go back home. And we've got, I got to brag, we have some frigging huge deer in this state. A big part of it is because they eat so much on the silage, on the corn, on the vegetation. We've got huge deer out here. So if you want to get one, they're pretty good size. And I know a lot of, like in Texas, I've seen a lot of the hunting shows where they farm, where they're private ranches and they put out cotton seed and they put other kinds of food. They've got some pretty good sized deer too. But yeah, if you guys ever want a good hunting trip, just come out here. And a lot of times you're going to get your tag within about 4 hours of opening season. Especially if you go to some of these places that are more dense with the population of deer. So that's a big one. But yeah, so David, for you guys, are you limited to shotgun slug only where you live?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the most of Maryland is no rifle. Maybe when you get a little further west, they might open it up. But from where I am to the East Coast, it's pretty sure it's no rifle.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of the trend over on the East Coast for a lot of people too out there. Yeah.
That's what the folks from Baltimore that I know, David, that's what they told me too, is where they can hunt close by there in Maryland, they have to use shotguns only.
Okay.
And it does
Small
make
states
sense.
that you got to watch out for.
Going back to what Travis was saying, unless you're on the top of, you know, one of the rolling hills, if you can see 50 yards, 100 yards, then you're standing in a parking lot somewhere, because any woods around here are super dense.
Yeah. Oh man. I will say one thing, you know, if you do decide to go the slug route, you know, you got to kind of watch what you're running through it. I've got a Mossberg 835 and I've got a slug barrel for it. In fact, the first deer hunt that I went on, I was using it's a 12 gauge and I had the slug barrel on it. It's got a rifled slug barrel, so you have to use the, I can never pronounce it right, Sabo or Sabo slugs that have a little cap around them. And there's some pretty potent slug ammunition out there. I was shooting the Hornady SST 12 gauge rounds, the slug rounds that they sell. And, you know, they're about $3 a pop. Oh my God. If you look at the ballistics, it's unbelievable. These things shoot flat. And you can fact check me on this. I think they shoot flat at 200 yards, or they might have like a 3-inch drop at 200 yards. They are a very potent round, and they kick. I mean, it feels like a 50 caliber black powder rifle going off when you shoot it, but they are an awesome round. And I've got that 835 was tapped from the factory, and I've got a rail for it, and I do put optics on it. Now, I haven't run that for years. I just keep the 12 gauge shot barrel on it for upland game bird, you know, ducks and geese and all that fun stuff, so I can swap out choke tubes. But, you know, if you've got a smooth bore shotgun, you should just be able to use just traditional slugs through it with no problems. They have like fins around the slug itself to give it some rifling to make it spin. So that's something that you need to know about too. Jim, what about you? Your experiences with deer hunting? Did you ever go as a kid? I know you said that you might take one in, or you may consider going or something, or what?
No, I would be a complete noob.
Okay. Now, do you have any access to land? Do you have any friends that would let you hunt on your land, or would you have to go buy a lease like what Matt's talking about? Because you're in a little bit different area than where Matt is.
Yeah, but it's the same situation. It's all private property. So I do have a friend, well, my shooting range owner, that I could probably take a deer on his land.
Okay.
He's already been talking about putting out soybean or corn for bait. Okay. If you walk across the rifle range, you see deer tracks all over the place right now. That's a possibility, but I probably wouldn't pay $500,000, $1,500 for a lease or something.
Yeah, that's insane. You know what? No, honestly, just get in your car, get an out-of-state permit for Nebraska, come up here, and because you can hunt on the public land. You don't, aside from having your correct permit to hunt in Nebraska, you can go to any of the public hunting areas. I've got a Rand McNally Gazette that has every public hunting area listed on it. It tells you what you're going to find there. It tells you the rules and regulations of that area, whether or not it's open certain times of the year. There's plenty of spaces you could go by yourself and get whatever you want. Of course, then you got the gas, the transportation, hotel, and stuff like that. Unless you would come out here, you guys can always stay with us. Just real quick on that Hornady round I was talking about. So I know we probably have a high percentage of guys and gals, if they're going to go deer hunting, they probably have to go slug hunting. That is the 12 gauge SST slug 300 grain FTX round. And just to tell you about the ballistics, at 100 yards, it puts out 1,793 foot-pounds of energy. At 100, out of the barrel, it's 2664. The trajectory is high at 100 yards, 2.7 inches. It fires flat at 150. Okay, my bad. At 200 yards, the slug round is a 6.7 inch drop. But that is definitely the way to go if you're going to look into it. And they also saw that at 20 gauge too.
That's figured on 150 yard zero then? Is that what that's saying?
Yes. So, I mean, the fact that you can aim a little high at 200 and still take it. I mean, that, and the funny part is most of the deer, I would say we take, a lot of what we take, let's see, Jim, I think you got some feedback coming through your speaker there, buddy. All right. A lot of the deer that tend to be taken in Nebraska, I mean, Sandals, what would you say, 300 yards or less, just from your experiences growing up, what you've seen? I mean, I had 200 yards. What?
I think I've shot one deer in my life that was over 300 yards, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of deer that were a half mile away. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
definitely.
That for my 243, I just know that means that I either got to wait for them to come to me, or I need to figure out how to get to them.
Yep.
Or a lot of the time, I gotta wish that they were on the right side of a fence.
Yep.
That's something else too. I can't stress enough, especially if you're hunting private land. know which fences you can cross and know which fences you can't, because nothing will drive a wedge between good neighbors faster than people stepping over fences or hunting where they shouldn't be. Because you might just be coming through and have permission to hunt, but the guy that owns that land has to live with those neighbors all year long. And he's not going to hold you accountable. Well, he will, but he's going to hold the landowner that you're hunting on accountable to keep you where you belong. So make sure that you're where you are supposed to be. Make sure that you know that if there's a fence between you and that grove of trees, that if a deer steps out of those trees, you can't shoot that deer right there. You've got to try and call that deer or something to get it on the right side of the fence. And there's no room for fudge on this. You can't, well, maybe I'll just shoot it and then just drag it under the fence real quick. No, that's how you get the sheriff called on you. So good fences make good neighbors, but at the same time, so do good hunters.
So isn't it in Nebraska, if you're caught hunting, poaching, or because people do that, guys will be driving along and they see that deer out there and they got the rifle behind them in the pickup truck. And, you know, a lot of times our game and parks guys will set up robotic deer out in the fields and in the woods, and that's how they catch people poaching. They lure them in. I've seen that happen before too. In Nebraska, don't you lose your firearm if you're caught poaching or you're caught doing an illegal hunt?
I believe so.
They confiscate your firearm, you lose your firearm, and you also get like a $500 fine or a $250 fine.
The problem is,
yeah,
I've seen this happen where just a mile down the road from where I shot my last buck was we saw a gut pile laying out, 20 yards into the pasture. It's still on my dad's ranch, still on the property. We're just driving down the county road, and you can see a gut pile out there. There's a couple crows, landing on it. And you can see where they shot the deer, gutted it, drug it under the fence, loaded it in the pickup right in the road ditch, and took off.
Yeah.
This happens everywhere. And that is the reason why a lot of people don't like hunters.
Yeah. Or the guys will leave their garbage in their trash piles with wherever they stop and jump out of their vehicles. There's guys up, there's a lot of people at my church that I go to that are they're farmers. And, we've talked about hunters, like, goddamn hunters on my land. They're upset because they'll have guys that will go over on their land. And we've had people had cows get hit in crossfire. We've had people that have had steers that have been killed from people that are either playing a joke and they shoot the cow, which, a full size, steer or cow is very expensive. It's worth a lot of money, especially to that farmer. Or they were shooting at a deer and or people mistaken. I mean, there's been people who have been arrested for mistaking a cow for a deer. I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous, but these things do happen. So yeah, first of all, if you're going to be doing this, follow the laws. I know that might be your dream trophy buck, but man, just make the right choice, because it can ruin it for everybody else if you don't. Or, you can get yourself arrested, you can get yourself in trouble. So that's not what we're about on this show. Awag, what about you? What's the deer hunting like out in your neck of the woods? What's it like in New Jersey? Well, I know you said you don't, but what do you know?
From my knowledge, I think you're only allowed to hunt with a smoothbore shotgun. Rifled shotguns are considered to be rifles, which is really stupid. And muzzle loaders as well. There's also bow hunting season that runs around here, but there's not enough local hunters. I mean, there are quite a few of them, but there's not as many as there really should be. Okay. And the deer population, even the black bear population up north, is so radically out of control that there's one section of highway that runs through South Jersey. It's Highway Route 55. There are just so many deer littered along the sides of these roads. Like, one way you can go probably 6 miles and probably see around 10 deer on the side of the road, and that's only one way.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I know there's roads I've read about in New York State where they've had to put up huge fences because the claims and the insurance and the collisions were so bad with deer that they had to. There's areas that they've had to fence off so the deer can't go over it. They have to go around it or under because it's so bad. Which and I mean here they do they offer the seasons that they offer so we can really regulate the population, because sometimes we run into chronic wasting disease with the deer and so on. And certain regions might have a higher bag limit than others. They really do. Our Nebraska resource, the NRD guys, the officers and the Game and Parks guys do a great job regulating the numbers. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like maybe they need to open things up a little bit more, AWAG.
Yeah. But in order to control the deer population in North Jersey, they've released coyotes.
Okay.
That's very bad because coyotes are a real huge issue everywhere else in the country.
Well, here they'll go after small livestock if people have chickens or roosters, or they'll go after people's farm animals, dogs, cats. You know, I mean, so is there's no season on coyote then, I take it, or what?
No, and it's getting to the point that people are complaining to like the local officials to say, hey, I just hit somebody's dog. And because these people have never, we're a bunch of yuppies here. We've never seen a coyote. We honestly think that, I mean, the first time I saw a coyote, I thought it was somebody's dog.
Husky, you know, I think somebody's like miniature husky running around, you know?
Yeah.
And then another part of it too is rabies. You got to worry about that. I've seen, you know, videos on YouTube with coyotes that have rabies that are just, you know, mangy, and there's, you know, you don't run into, especially with the woodlands you guys have. I'm sure there's a lot of people that go camping and a lot of hikers and stuff like that, and you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I mean, I can see where that could definitely be an issue. Squibby, what about you? What's the deer hunting like out in your neck of the woods? Is it, Squib, are you guys slug only, or are you guys long rifle?
Can you come back to me in a minute?
Sure, man, no problem. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and talk about caliber preferences for deer hunting. So those of you that haven't deer hunted before, you guys are interested, and again, guys, if you have questions about the deer hunting in general, please post it over in the chat. I think between most of us, we can answer your questions. So definitely go ahead and let it go. Sandhills, what's your preference for a caliber for deer hunting? Maybe be back in a second here. All right. So what I will tell you for Nebraska, popular rounds would be 243, 270, 300 Win Mag, 7mm Remington Magnum, also very popular. A lot of guys, you know, you can get yourself, especially for Nebraska, or, you know, you get yourself a nice 30-06 or a nice 308, and you're going to be good to go. You know, you definitely want to make sure that you get a round that's powerful enough. You know, a couple of limitations with the 243, depending on how long you're going to keep the gun, you can run into premature barrel wear in the rifling. I know that within a couple thousand rounds, I've seen 243 barrels wear out. Cost, you know, 243, 270 is a little bit pricey sometimes too. So you got to watch out for that. I don't know, 270, I'm not sure exactly what you're going to be looking at for a max distance. I know 243, you'd probably want to go 300 yards or less. 30-30 is always a good choice too, 30-30. Now, there's always an interesting discussion about this one. Should you hunt deer with 5.56? You know, 223 Remington. So, I mean, just, well, from a legal standpoint, in Nebraska, you do have the energy you need at 100 yards. And what's funny about this is Cabela's will post pictures of the different calibers of people on their successful hunts, whether it's deer, antelope, turkey, you know, whatever. And they'll show, there's people that post their pictures of deer that they've successfully bagged bucks that they've shot with their 5.56 round. Now, again, they've got, again, depending on the, I'm biased towards Hornady because they have a wonderful selection of ammo. It's a Nebraska-based business, and they do make some of the best ammo out there. But I would say it would be okay with 5.56. Obviously, you have to know whether or not you can hunt with a semi-automatic rifle in the state you live in. In a lot of states, you can, as long as you have a 5-round mag. In a lot of places, you can't. Or if you have yourself a 223 Remington bolt action, or say a 5.56 223 bolt action rifle, you know, would you hunt with 5.56? Why not? Why do you think you shouldn't do that?
I mean, I just think it's not powerful enough. I hear people. Now this is coming from a home defense standpoint, and also from me listening to some of my military friends. They say that they honestly think that the 62 grain 5.56. I know you're not going to use 62 grain LAP on a deer, but they say that it's not enough to, you know, put down a person. So what makes you think that it's going to put down a animal that's a few 100 pounds more?
Well, I mean, for one thing, if you would have, I guess you could say, a fatal shot or a critical hit on that animal, you do a harder lung shot, it's not going to get very far. I don't know. I mean, I guess for me, I don't hunt with 5.56, but if you look at some of the rounds that are out there, and these rounds are tailor made for varmint kills or medium game kills, I would say I guess if you don't have anything else to hunt with, you could. But then again, when it comes to this whole discussion, bigger is better in my opinion, because you want the animal to suffer as little as possible once you finally kill it. Once you finally hit it, you want it to go down as quickly as possible. Plus, nothing sucks more than having to track the deer down, especially if you got to go out in the woods or you've got to follow a blood trail, or you have to put it down with a second shot when you get to it. That's not what we want. Now, Rich White says, deer have been killed with 22 LR. Oh, I understand that completely. Yeah, I mean, it just takes the right shot to do it. For me, and I'm more about the takedown power. So for me, the first long rifle that I used, the first centerfire rifle that I used for my deer hunt was a 30-06. And I think that, that's going to do the job for you.
The only deer,
yeah.
The only deer I've ever lost, I shot it with a 223.
The only what? Deer you lost?
Deer I've ever tracked and lost and not killed, right away. I've had them run, 15, 20 yards.
Yeah.
But the only deer I've ever not recovered, we tracked this deer straight line about 1.5 miles. Overall, the deer probably walked 2.5 miles after I had shot it, because it was a bad shot placement with an underpower. It was legal. I think it was a 65 or 68 grain or something like that. It met the minimum energy requirement for the state of Nebraska, but I'll never do it again.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah.
Hey, I'm on the road for Cabela's now, so I think I'm on data. So I
told you, pumpkin spice in the air, man. Look what it does to you. All right, go ahead.
I might be roboting. I don't think I will, but I might be. So just a full disclaimer on that, and also full disclaimer: this year is the first year I am going deer hunting. Oh. But AWAG said, he talked to his military buddies, and they said a 5.56 won't take down a person. I can tell you, it will. Now, since I've never gone deer hunting, I can't say to what it would do to a deer. But if I base it off of my military experience, a 5.56 should be just fine for killing a deer, in my opinion. The reason I am not using 5.56 this year is where I'm hunting. In southern Michigan, you cannot hunt with a bottleneck cartridge. I'd have to go up north. And I'm hunting on private land. You do a lot better here doing it on private land than state land. State land is just, from everything I've heard from other hunters, it's packed with people. So if you know somebody with property, you want to go there. Well, the two people I know are down here, and this zone is straight wall cartridge, so I'm using 44 special. But if that wasn't a law, I'd probably have my AR-15 out there or my M1 Garand, and I would not hesitate to use 5.56 or 223 on a deer. Now, maybe if I had a situation like Sandhills where I did shoot one, and I know I got a good shot on it, and I tracked it and never found it, it might change my opinion. And I don't want the animal to suffer. But in my military experience, that round will do the job.
And I'm not arguing that, Squib, at all. It was as much the nut behind the bolt as it was the bullet that caused that. It was a bad shot.
I wasn't trying to argue. I was just, when AWAG said he had some military friends that says it won't kill a person, yes, it will. I don't know what they were shooting at, but it'll kill a person.
It'll kill a deer.
Yeah.
Sure it will. If you know what you're doing and you know your gun, and I was shooting a gun that I didn't know, and I was really young at the time and didn't know exactly what I was doing, and it was just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And it was a recipe for an animal to suffer, and that's what bothers me more than anything.
Yeah, but my thing is first and foremost is shot placement. Shot placement over the ballistics, shot placement over capacity, shot placement over a lot of things.
Amen.
So, for example, with that AR-15 and the way the sights are, I know a lot of people use optics, but I use iron sights. If you know what you're doing, you can put rounds on target accurately. So if you said, well, would you rather have a larger caliber with sights that aren't as good or that you're not as good with, or would you rather have a smaller caliber but everything you point at you hit? I'm going to go with that, with the one that I'm more accurate with. So I'd say if you're more comfortable with that AR-15, then I don't know, something else. That's something to consider, because if you miss the deer altogether, you're not bringing home any dinner. And if you do hit the deer, but you don't hit it where you're aiming, that could be just as bad as tracking it and not finding it, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, where's the premier shot? Like if the internals of a deer, you could see them and you could aim directly at the heart or directly at the lungs, which shot do you take for, what's your preferred shot, heart or lung?
Both, if I can hit them.
Yeah,
So
from the side, you got that zone right in back of the front legs.
There's an angle, and it's a pretty good sized circle, really.
Yeah.
There's an angle where the heart and lungs will line up with each other, and if you shoot one right behind the point of the shoulder, then you'll hit lung tissue and take out the top 2 chambers of the heart. And I'm not bragging that I'm a crack shot, because I'm not a good shot at all, but I'm good enough that I can generally hit the heart every time.
Now,
One year
I
I
understand
was
that you're
living
not
on deer
gonna.
meat, and I think I had 6 tags, and out of those 6 deer, I think I took the top 2 chambers out of the heart at 5 of them, I think. So it's just the spot where I tend to hold, that tends to be the sweet spot, and then they don't run very far, and they don't suffer.
The heart, I guess the heart and I'm sure that the lungs are part of what you dress. And I guess unless you're John Rambo, most people don't keep the heart, do they?
That's personal preference. A lot of guys like the heart.
Yeah. There's just like
if it's not shot, or if there's anything salvageable in there, a lot of guys like to grind that up. So I hunt with some relatives, a couple cousins, and they're like, I don't know how this works exactly, second, third cousins. They're not first cousins that much, I do know. So it's a father and son. One of them is my dad's age, and then one of them's my age, and they always used to keep the heart for years and years and years, and now it's got to the point where he doesn't want it anymore. But he always used to take the heart from each of their deer. He'd take the heart from mine if I didn't want it, and I never did want it. I don't like organ meat. Some people do. So that's all personal preference there, unless you've completely destroyed it. If you shoot a 338 Win Mag and you hit that heart dead on, there's not going to be a lot of heart left.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another part too. You definitely want to get out and get that rifle dialed in and practice with it quite a bit. There's some questions coming over on the chat side. A bullet preference for the 308. I like the Federal Fusion ammo is really good. And then I've always had success with the Winchester. What is it called? The PowerPoint ammo, the soft point ammo that they sell.
Yeah, the Power Soft Point. Yeah.
Silver Point or PowerPoint. That's really good stuff, but it's inexpensive and it works well. Now I fired a 0.6. Obviously, it's more than powerful enough for what I need. But that if you don't know where to start, that's definitely a good round.
It's the same bullet though. If you're reloading, I think the Power Soft Point, you can get the bullets in 150 and 165 grain. I've got some. I was gonna do some 30-06 reloads for a buddy. He shot factory Power Soft Points, and I bought the bullets. He gave me his brass and the box and everything. I was gonna reload it and hand it back to him. Go, here's all your stuff back.
I used to, and I will again. I think this year in my 270, the last 270 I had, my favorite round was from Winchester, but it wasn't the Power Point Soft Point. It was called Power Max. Okay. And it's kind of like a Federal Fusion where it's chemically or molecular whatever bonded, the core and the jacket, but it's a hollow point like a Fusion is, and that stuff is just wicked on a one-shot drop on a deer. It's really good stuff. 130 grain. That's why I like the 270. I grew up, I cut my teeth on a 243, and I still love it. But that 270 with 130 grain bullet is almost the exact same trajectory, and it's given me 30% more lead when it gets there.
Yeah, that is a very hot round. That'd be one to definitely check out, especially 270. That's a monster. You look at the muzzle energy on that.
I've on paper I like a 25-06. I've never shot one. Yeah. But 270 ammo is way cheaper.
I would tell you guys, if you guys run an AR platform and you can legally hunt with a semi-automatic rifle in your state, which I know that's going to narrow down the number of people that can, get yourself a 300 blackout upper, and then get yourself some premium 300 blackout ammo, nice soft point round, and then you've got yourself a viable hunting rifle. I'd rather see you hunt with that than 5.56, because 5.56 puts out about, I mean, the round I was looking at, there's a 75 round Hornady 5.56 round, 75 grain Hornady 5.56 round, and it puts out at 100 yards, 1,192 pound-feet of energy with a 20-inch barrel. So that's going to put you up past the minimum, say, for Nebraska hunting, but versus 270 or 243 that has 500 foot-pounds more of energy, or pound-feet of energy, whatever. That would definitely, look at other calibers if you're going to go that route. I'm not going to, obviously I don't want to discourage anybody from hunting, but I would recommend to not. Keep your 5.56 and your 223 maybe for coyote hunts or varmint hunts or prairie dogs and all that fun stuff. Another good ammo to check out is, I love the Hornady SST bullet. It has really good expansion. It's a very powerful round. It's a very, very good ballistics coefficient to it, so it's a very efficient round. And when I hunt this winter, I'll be using the Ruger Ranch 7.62x39, and I'll be using they make a steel case SST round that's supposedly engineered for hunting. It's made for hunting, and it's supposed to work solid out to 200 yards. You can go out to 3, but they recommend 100 to 200 yards for what you go for. So that's what I'm going to bring with me to Sandhills, unless I decide to pick up like an .6 or something this winter, which who knows? I mean, I might just pick up something if there's a Black Friday special.
I told you, just bring everything.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. I can always
bring all your long guns and
let's bring the Mosin. I really want to get it with this one because it's such a good rifle, and I know how it shoots and I know what it does, and I really like the Ruger Ranch. But
I've believe it or not, growing up where I did, I've never called in coyotes, but I've always wanted to.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring a good varmint gun along,
we can use this. That's fine. The ammo's cheap enough for it. Okay, here's the biggest problem with the Ruger Ranch rifle. If you get one of these in 7.62x39, the biggest flaw with this thing is that it's so cheap to shoot that you're going to stay at the range longer than you plan to, and you're going to put more rounds through it than you expected to. I can't take this out and not put 100 rounds through it. And the thing is, how often can you say that with a high power rifle, that you can afford to actually shoot it for hours on end? At $10 for 40 rounds, I mean, you can stay out there forever and have a good time with it. Those SST rounds I was talking about, the 7.62x39 SST rounds, they're 50 rounds for $30, which in my opinion is not bad. I've spent $30 on 20 rounds of 30-06. And so that's and you can get the Hornady Black, which is I think just the brass case version of the steel case SST rounds, but those are, I'd say they're probably $20 a box for 20 rounds, but it's cheaper just to get the steel case version. And so I'm just saying, those of you that might be considering doing hunting with 7.62x39, you've got options. And this is one of the least expensive bolt actions you can get out there. It's just, I love this damn thing. It's an awesome rifle. It's so much fun to shoot. So I don't know. Yeah.
Is there small game season like groundhog and coyote and other stuff like that, or?
Yeah, when you get your basic habitat stamp, it's going to open you up to do a lot of your, I don't know if that includes like trapping, but that's going to open you up to like raccoon and skunk and possum and.
Not the habitat stamp, Travis. That's extra.
What's that? Yeah, you do have to have that.
Your small game is also your upland permit.
Yeah.
So if you want to hunt, and there's a season, I don't know what it is because I mean, as a kid, I didn't care about seasons for squirrels or rabbits or whatever, and I don't go out now because I don't have any place to go. But your small game permit will let you do rabbits and squirrels and that kind of stuff within season, jackrabbits, quail, grouse, pheasant, dove, all that's included.
Prairie chicken.
Hey, does that include, can you goose hunt with that?
Is waterfowl included in that, Travis? I don't know.
No, I believe you have to have.
What if you goose hunt with your pickup truck?
There's the Nebraska waterfowl stamp, and then there's
to hunt with your pickup, Squib.
Okay, because I got
insurance.
I got Canadian geese crossing the highway right now, like they own it. And if it weren't for all these tree huggers in front of me or whatever they are, I mean, maybe they just have I'd run them over.
Don't worry about the Canadians. It's the snow geese in Nebraska. I believe we do not. There's no bag limit on snow geese, and there's no shell limit on snow geese.
I've wanted to do that. I've wanted to go goose hunting I've heard about that. Like they just got out of control. I know the Canadian geese. I think they banned hunting on them here for like 20 or 30 years, and now they're out of control. They're everywhere. They're a nuisance.
Yeah, the snow goose is more of an issue because they're when they're roosting up in the north, up in Canada, they're very aggressive and they tend to have more of an effect on the Canada geese population. I call them Canada geese. The Canadas. And then also other birds that go up there, like the cranes and things like that. They're also very aggressive. So that's why here, I mean, I could be wrong, and again, you guys can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure we don't have a bag limit on snow geese or shell capacity for your shotguns.
I think that's right. Canada's yes, snow's no.
Yep. And I've eaten both. Yeah. They're both delicious. I mean, they're both great. I mean, there's a lot of good recipes you can make with them, and duck and geese
are greasy birds, though.
Who cares?
Yeah, I think they got a limit. I think they got a limit here on Canadian geese since they've allowed hunting again. But they need to make it unrestricted because these things are like seagulls. I mean, they're just everywhere. Yeah, I'm surprised your natural resources department hasn't opened up like a season on it, or just had a lottery where you can get your permits and go out and do it. You know. No. Well, you can hunt geese here. I don't know all the details of it, but for the longest time you couldn't, and the population got out of control because they banned it so long, and they finally go, okay, we'll let you get a couple geese a year. I just don't know what it is, but they need to have some sort of unlimited season or something because they're just. I mean, it's the same thing with the deer. The deer population in Michigan has gotten out of control too. They've made it so restrictive to hunt, plus with all the suburbs expanding and things like that, there are more deer in the suburbs than there are out in the country, it seems like.
See, and that's where you start to run into problems. When they start restricting, firearms rights and your ability to go out and hunt, they start limiting your seasons and limit your firearms, you're going to start to see those populations explode. Especially, you're going to start to see them gather in common areas where there is vegetation and there is food. And that's going to lead to a lot of problems. I know in Colorado, up in Estes Park, Colorado, they have to thin out the elk populations every year because the elk will come into town and start chomping on people's yards. They'll start eating the vegetation in town, because they'll start, they'll be scavenging for stuff out in the woods, and it's easier just to go into town where there's a nice grassy park to munch on. So at nighttime, I know the NRD in Colorado, they actually do nighttime elk hunting that they do at night with suppressors to clear out the population. So, but that's what happens when you get these urban areas and you don't manage the population. You start to run into, overpopulation. You start to run into disease and things like that.
Well, do you think in this day and age there are less hunters, less people are encouraged to hunt, less people are interested in hunting, and that in addition to the restrictive laws and do you think that all comes together to make to create this overpopulation issue?
I'm saying this just, people are so distracted in general. I just don't think you get a lot of people that go outdoors. You don't have kids that go outdoors as they used to. I think your numbers of hunters in general are probably down just because of the convenience of getting what you want and not having to hunt for it anymore, and the distractions in life. I think it does affect the overall number of hunters out there, which can be a boon for those of you that hunt. You might not have issues finding game because there's less people out now than there was 10 or 15 years ago. So it's something to consider. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Go ahead.
I was going to say I don't perceive that to be the case in Texas.
Yeah,
but hunting's a little different here because we don't have the big swaths of public land either. So
yeah. So I don't remember what the numbers are for Nebraska. They've mentioned the number of people that hunt. It's a pretty good percentage. It's like 4 out of 10 or something. It's a ridiculously awesome number, but yeah.
Now I know that there are a lot of hunters in Michigan. It's not just Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
And hunting is a big thing. There's a lot of blue collar guys here because of the auto industry. And I'm not saying white collars don't hunt, but you don't hear them talking about it around the water cooler as much. But I will say this though, there are times where the automotive manufacturing industry gets so crazy that they tell you, we got to retract your vacation time. You cannot go hunting this November. We're everybody's on mandatory overtime, mandatory double time, and guys will get ticked off. But the UAW has so many people. That's United Auto Workers, for those who don't know. The unions have so many people that take opening day for rifle season for deer off that it's a paid holiday whether you hunt or not. You get that day off paid. So even though they encourage you to vote for the people that want to take you away your gun rights, they also let you take a paid day off on opening day. So that's irony, but now I'm not in the UAW, so I don't get that. I've got to use vacation time to go hunting. but it's just the culture here is a hunting culture. But I will say that the work culture here too sometimes inhibits that. I'm 45 and I've never gone deer hunting before. Last year was going to be my first year, and I lost my job right before hunting season, so I was busy job hunting instead of deer hunting, and I probably should have been deer hunting. So I'm behind schedule as far as getting into this. Whereas the people, a lot of people around here have been doing it since they were teenagers.
Yeah.
But still, not everybody though. I mean, it's just I don't know. I just wonder about this younger generation if they're more, oh, I can't. It's unethical. It's whatever. And it's like they don't realize that if you don't do something, these subdivisions you keep building further and further out in the country are going to do more damage than people hunting.
I
We'll
don't
say one thing
recommend
for.
it.
Go ahead.
I don't recommend it, but when I was in 10th grade, one of my friends quit school to go hunting and just never came back to school.
Now he's got a show on like the Outdoors Channel, and he's making millions of dollars a year, and he's sponsored by Christensen Arms.
What's his name? Is it Lacoste?
Right.
Well, hey, just to kind of give you some facts here, Nebraska's population is 1.9 million, roughly 1.92 million, and Game and Parks estimates that we have 125,000 hunters. So 1 in 10 people in Nebraska are hunters. Which, when you look at the population of people that are too old to hunt and the population of people that are too young to hunt or too small, that's a pretty good chunk of the population of people that are eligible to hunt that actually do. So that's not bad. But granted, we've got the open land too, where it's not crowded. Some spots are going to be more crowded than others, but we've got the area to go to too. So, okay, so we talked about the 5.56, whether or not it's a viable caliber. So if you were to deer hunt, can you guys recommend any calibers that you would use? What would work for you guys?
7.62 by 54R.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck, take your Mosin out, dude. Take your, as long as you get a 5-round mag for your PSL, you can take it.
Luckily for you, I actually have a 5-round PSL magazine.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so on that 7.62 by 54R, I know you can get soft point. I've actually got some. With that, what's the ballistic equivalent? Is it 308 or 30-06? 308 equivalent?
It's supposedly equal to 30-06.
Okay.
If not better in some cases.
Okay.
But most people always use soft point off the shelf ammo for 7.62 by 54R. If I were to go deer hunting, I would probably load my own using I forget what it is. It's a solid copper bullet. It's a Barnes.
Oh,
I forget what they call it, but it's
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's not a soft point, but it's a polymer tipped high expansion bullet. Basically, it's 180 grains.
Is it their TSX?
That's what it is. And
works good in 300 blackout.
I know.
Hey, and Hornady makes a 7.62 by 54R custom round with an SST bullet on it too. So there you go. That would definitely do the job.
I think they discontinued that actually. I don't think they're making 7.62 by 54R anymore.
It's still on the website as of 2018. I'm sure you can find it if you look around. You can probably score a couple boxes online. Let's see here. So, okay, what else do you guys think? So, Sandhills, what's your preference for a round? 243, 270? What do you use? 270, right?
My preference is a 270. I know a lot of guys that hunt with various 22 calibers.
Like the 22 250 and stuff like that.
22 250, 220 Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the 223 Remington. 222 Remington has actually been pretty popular.
Yeah. That's a hot round too. Yeah.
It used to be. My personal belief is I prefer to see people with a 24 caliber or larger. But I mean, again, I'm 100% in agreement with Squib. Whatever gun that you shoot, if you can put them exactly where you want them, every time or 99 out of 100 times, then that is way more valuable than, hey, bring that 300 because you don't want to have to shoot the deer twice, and you might not get a good shot the first time. Well, that's careless. Yeah. So I agree with what Squib said 100%. If you know your gun and you know what you can do with it, then it's not just a matter of shot placement. It's not just a matter of the caliber. It also, what plays into factor then is your confidence level at different ranges too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, if you know what you can do, and that deer is, you know, 450 yards out there, and you know for a fact that you can hit that and kill that deer with one shot, then take the shot. You know, if you're unsure, then don't take the shot. I don't care what range it is. You know, so again, practice, spend the money on some ammo, and practice with your hunting ammo. If you're shooting, you know, like 7.62 by 39 or something like that, don't just go out there and practice, you know, with 500 rounds of ball ammo. Spend some money on your soft points or your Hornady tipped bullets or whatever they are, and make sure that you know what you can do with those, and you know what your drop is at various ranges and whatnot too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've, you know, my family for a little over 10 years had a hunting lodge up there on my dad's ranch, and I mean, I've seen people come through with anything from, you know, 22 250s clear up to one guy always brought out his 338 Win Mag, and he was good with it. He wasn't careless. He was one of those guys I know from Baltimore, and he shot that 338, and he only ever hit a deer one time with it. But my biggest thing is I like a round that'll go clear through.
Mm-hmm.
I like an exit wound. The deer bleeds out faster, and they go into shock a lot faster too.
Yes.
So you know, if you consistently see when you recover your deer that bullet has, you know, stopped just short of the hide on the backside or whatever, then I don't know, maybe you need to look at something, you know, that's going to penetrate all the way through a little bit better. That's just, again, it's personal preference. I just like having a hole on both sides.
Yeah, if you are out, if you can use a centerfire rifle, I would say there's nothing wrong with going with a 30-06 or a 308. If you just don't know where to start, you can definitely start that route. Sandals, I had to mute you because there's an echo going on. I'm sorry, buddy. So if you don't know where to start, calibers, 243, 270, nothing wrong with the 30-30 lever action. You know, we've talked about slugs a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, 06 and 308 should do the job for you too. Squib, what were you going to use when you go? A slug gun only for you or what?
Yeah, down here you can use a slug gun. You might be able to use buckshot as well, but no, I'm taking the Henry out, and I'm going to use a 44 Special Plus P Plus that I'm hand loading myself. So it's a little bit eccentric, but hey, why not?
Yeah.
I chronoed that round at just over 2,200 feet per second last time I checked it. I'm going to chrono it again today, but I'm using a 250 grain jacketed soft point, and it ought to do the job. I mean, if I'm not comfortable with that, I'll just switch to 44 mag. Where I'm hunting, I'm not going to be taking a shot much over 100 yards, if that, and like I was talking about earlier, in southern Michigan, you can't hunt with a bottleneck cartridge. You've got to use a straight wall or a shotgun. If I was somewhere where I wasn't limited on my cartridge, and it's before anybody says, "Oh, it's because Michigan sucks," your laws are. It's the population. Unlike some parts of this country, we have a growing population. The suburbs are. I've been driving west from my house, and I've been driving through former farm areas that are now all suburbs and shopping centers. So I mean, there's just they want you to have they don't want you to use certain kind of calibers because they're worried that if you miss, this thing could travel pretty far and go through somebody's window. But that being said, I mean, I would love to go hunting with my M1 Garand. I would hand load my own 150 grain. I'd probably use the power soft points.
Yeah.
But I'd make sure that the charge was equivalent to an M2 ball charge because the op rod on that M1 Garand is sensitive to non-military ammunition. I mean, I'd love to take my 577 450 Martini Henry out, maybe, at some point. And I might even go pistol caliber carbine since I can use that down here and go 45 AARP, maybe in a plus P or plus P plus or a 10 millimeter auto. So, let me see how deer hunting goes this year, and I'll have a better answer for you next year.
There you go. Maybe you can come out here next year and go with us.
Dude, I would love to. I would really love to. I miss having 4 weeks paid vacation. This whole well, we think we can get you 2 is kind of like, what? You know, it's like, look, man, you know, you work to live. You don't live to work. But yeah, I would love to get out there.
Now, another round I want to talk about here for deer hunting, and these 2 rounds have been fascinating me lately. The 450 Bushmaster and the 458 SOCOM. I know Sean Pondery had mentioned this over in the chat. If you look at the development of that round and what it was designed to do, it will do the job. You know, it's not a cheap round, and you're going to have, you know, obviously a different upper for your AR if you can run it. And I think that, what is it, Ruger makes an American Ranch in 458 SOCOM or 450 Bushmaster. One of the 2. That is an awesome round. Out to 250 yards, I think it's going to do the job. So if you want to go that route too, there's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to mention some of those big bore guys too. You know, Scope, you're talking about 45 AARP, or earlier we were talking about using 45 Colt as an option too. So, but yeah, the 450 Bushmaster, 458 SOCOM, that is just awesome. I love that round.
So I'll tell you this: one of the 2 farms I'm hunting on is Dusty's farm. For those of you who might not know him, Dusty is a Gun Channels member. He lives in South Central Michigan, and he has a 450 Bushmaster. And I shot it last year, and my reaction after shooting it, I started laughing, because you can feel the power, but it's not uncontrollable in that AR-15 platform. It was like, this is kind of cool. But as far as I know, that's what he's using this year. I'll double check when I'll be to his farm in about 2 hours, but or give or take, depending on how long I'm at Cabela's. But I'll check with him what he's hunting with this year, but I believe that's what he's using for deer hunting. And he does his own reloads on it, because that stuff is expensive. I actually picked up some brass at my range last year. Somebody was sighting in theirs, and they left all their brass, so I'm taking that to him for reloads.
Nice, nice. Yeah, just looking that ammo up out of a 20-inch barrel at the muzzle, 450 Bushmaster. This might be the be-it-all, end-it-all, you know, kind of your intermediate distance or short distance ammo needs. 250 grain SST tip, 2,214 feet per second with 2,722 foot-pounds of energy.
Dang.
Yeah, that's a screamer, man. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, that what's the other one? There's a 500 something out there too. That guy
500 Savage
is something comparable to the Is that 450 Bushmaster and 450?
You know what my worry is on the 450 Bushmaster is one of these days I'm gonna take my family down to Dusty's farm, and he's gonna hand his AR to my wife and be like, "Here, shoot this," and she's gonna like it. And then I'm going to have to assemble her one. Then I'm going to have to make a bunch of reloads for it. I got to get the dies for it. I'm going to... I mean, she loves a 44 Magnum in a rifle and a carbine setup, so I bet she would like that 450 Bushmaster. It's like I can just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Now, the other one that I wanted to mention, too, is the... this is the 50 Beowulf. The 50 Beowulf. There you go. You can get uppers for that also.
You know, Travis, I've been turned off. I've been turned off on the 50 Beowulf. I've been wanting that since it came out. But isn't Alexander Arms the only one making the uppers and making the ammo? Yeah,
but you can get an upper. Now, don't laugh me out of here. I think it's $700 for a complete upper for one, which is, you know, it's a boutique round. What do you do? I mean, yeah, they might start to license out the patents to other companies, but I think the reason why is because the quality control to make sure that you know, you make it the right way so it doesn't blow up on somebody's. I mean, they had to reduce the pressure of the round from the cartridge it was based on so it would function in an AR. But listen to this, dude. 400 grain, 1,800 feet per second, 2,878 foot-pounds of energy. I mean, you can drop everything from a whitetail buck to an elephant with that thing. I think that's definitely, at some point, I'd almost consider that overkill. Now, that's out of a 16-inch barrel, too.
I mean, okay. Maybe once somebody else is making it. Yeah. I mean, because that's a straight wall. I could use that down here.
Hey, man, there you go. There you go. Yep. So it's an option. So if you really want to get with those exotic high-end, I don't know, could you call that a Wildcat caliber? I don't know. I think so, maybe.
I would say it's pretty Wildcat.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. At what point is it no longer Wildcat? I think if more than one company makes ammo for it. So, you know, you guys, you've got the, and yeah, Scott said Ruger makes the American Ranch and 450 Bushmaster, which might be one of your least expensive ways to get into it. I want to say those run around $400, maybe $450. I think I paid like $375 or $385 for this, but I bought it when it first came out and got a really good price on it. Now, granted, that's with no optics.
But the AR's going to take up the recoil on that, though.
Yes, yes.
A bolt action, you're
cool
gonna get it.
On some of those, I don't know what the specifics are, but on one of them you can use the mags. On another one, you have to change out the follower, like the 450 versus the 458 and the 50. One of them, and the nice thing is if you get like a 10-round mag, it only hold like 4. So capacity is not going to be an issue. Or that those are like the 458 SOCOM or the 450 Bushmaster. You can get like half or less of the capacity of the magazine if it's loaded with 5.56 with your rounds. So you're not going to have to go buy specialty mags for it. Just get a 10-round mag and put your 5 rounds in and you're ready to rock. But I can't remember. One of them requires a different follower. The other one can use a standard magazine. Another one, so just some options out there too. Okay, so Sandhills, you said you have a question for the panel. I've been looking at the chat. I apologize, man. I wasn't ignoring you. What was your question for the panel?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm just kind of curious everybody's take is shot placement. I always aim for just behind the shoulder, and I hit the rib cage and usually break a rib as it's going through and then, hit lungs, heart, whatever.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people prefer to break the shoulder, and I know other people that prefer to shoot the neck and take out the spine. So I'm just curious how everybody feels about, where do you actually try to put that bullet, to go around the horn or the people out in the chat.
I'm going to say, thinking about your distance, how far out are you shooting? How well do you know your rifle? How well do you know the ballistics or your shotgun? Yeah, in my opinion, you're going to have a higher percentage of a one-shot kill if you're going for the critical lung heart area, which is going to be a larger overall area. Now, I know in the chat last time we talked about this, there were guys that were talking about taking headshots and so on. Just to compensate for windage, for drop, I would aim for the critical zone behind the front legs. Your lung, your heart shot, your possible spine. I don't think I could do a neck or a headshot personally. I guess just because anytime I've ever shot, they don't get far. If you hit them within the lungs or the heart, they're going to go maybe 15, 20 yards and drop, if not right away, depending on what you're shooting with. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody else want to chime in?
I have no experience, so
I think that I think that since Sandhills is talking about this, and that's where I'm going to be aiming, since I lack experience killing deer. I was trained to shoot people. So, you go for center mass whenever possible. That's not to say that if you can make a headshot, you don't make a headshot. But I would imagine that behind the shoulder on the deer would be the same thing as center mass on a human, right?
Yeah. Don't hit the exact center of the deer, Squib, or you're going to have a stinky mess when you open that deer up.
Yeah. I learned that the first time I helped gut a deer. I've helped gut 2 deers. Travis, you need to mark off on my spelling test there.
We're all rednecks here. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, but I can't even use proper grammar in front of a teacher.
Dude, you've only had 1 cup of coffee. That's your excuse. That's what
it is too. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. I'm dying here. But I needed to get on the road. But I've helped gut 2 deer, so I know what I'm in store for there. And wow, what a stench if you get it wrong. Oh.
Once my buddy gut shot, nicked the intestines. We ended up taking the carcass to the car wash, and I held it open and he sprayed it out. I know that sounds crazy. We just used the high pressure wash with the water to spray it out because it was bad. It split open everywhere. Like, oh God, you're out there. You have
If you clean out your deer carcass at a car wash, you might be a redneck.
You might be.
There's a Jeff Foxworthy joke in there somewhere.
I'm like, man, because we didn't have the hoses hooked up. It was freezing temperatures outside. It was the end of the night when we did it. And the car wash luckily was still open. So it was a wand wash. We went there and I held it open with my gloves on and he sprayed out the inside of it. It was, oh my God. Yeah. You really gotta, like I said, watch some good, if you're going to go out and do this the first time, watch some good field stripping videos on the deer, on the gutting videos. Watch that, what to do once you find it. Oh man. Yeah.
Another thing I would recommend too is study up on deer anatomy. You can get the shoot and see targets that actually have the outline of the deer, and it's got the heart and lungs and all the vitals drawn in, so you can actually practice shooting, the part of the deer where those are going to be. But just do some research. You can go online and see, drawings or whatever of kind of where the vital organs are inside a deer's chest cavity, and it's not always where you expect in an animal. So, learn where that is and then just visualize that like you would anything else, depending on the angle, because every shot isn't broadside the way we want it. And on your target, that's what you're going to practice on. But, just visualize where that heart or where those lungs are, so that if you do have to take a quartering shot, that, you adjust for that. And sometimes you have to hit the shoulder. Sometimes you have to hit the off shoulder. I mean, it's whatever is the case, but just try and make it to where you give yourself every advantage there. But I've heard people say, well, yeah, just shoot them behind the shoulder. Well, then they shoot behind the shoulder, but it's 2 feet behind the shoulder. I aim for about 2 inches behind the back point of that shoulder. Nothing further back than that. You don't want to hit that gut.
Patrick was asking a question: can directed energy weapons be used to hunt medium to large game? Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just as long as you go for that vital area, you hit the heart and the lungs with, say, a stormtrooper, whatever laser gun. It's definitely going to do the job for you. I wouldn't worry about that. Should not be an issue. Now, the next thing I wanted to move into real quick is optics, because you've got a lot of guys that might be kind of optics snobs, but then there's a lot of us that are just bargainbasementwish.com guys. All right, so when it comes to optics, I'm just going to say this right now. If you spend more money on the optics, in my opinion, and you guys can again correct me on this if I'm wrong, you're going to get clear glass. You're going to get glass that captures more light. You're going to get a higher quality optic. You're going to get an optic that's going to be less likely to fail. The nice thing is that most of the companies, the Vortex, Nikon, Leupold, these guys that make their optics, they do make stuff on the lower end that's going to be $200 or less. So you can get into, premium brand optics. Anytime I've ever tested any firearms on the channel that have premium optics on the top, you do notice a difference. Now, with that being said, it's okay if it's your first time deer hunting or you buy a package deal that comes with a Bushnell or a Tasco scope on it from the factory. Nothing wrong with that. I sold my buddy a 243 Remington 710 that had the original Bushnell. It was called like a Bushnell sniper scope. It's what came on it from the factory, and he got a deer with it, had no trouble at all. So you can do, I mean, I'm going to recommend if this is your first time buying a rifle and you're going to get optics and stuff, and you don't have any optics on it, go get yourself a good quality scope, spend the money, get yourself a, $200-$300, depending on what you want, magnification level, whatever you need. Get yourself maybe a decent brand name that's going to have a good warranty with it. And I mean, I test a lot of budget optics on the channel, these little $40 3 to 9x40 scopes, but it's just because I want to see if they work. I'm just curious myself to see if they're going to fall apart on the first shot. I've been surprised with the results that I've had. Now, I still prefer higher end glass. I mean, Philo had made a comment on one of my videos saying, it's not fair for the animal to run junk optics when you run the risk of not hitting where you want to aim or having your optics fail in the field or. So, and I don't disagree with them at all. I mean, I definitely, after I'm done with these budget tests, I'm going to put some good glass on top of the Ruger Ranch, maybe go with the Vortex or something. I don't know, Leupold. So yeah, I mean, so with optics, it's okay. You get whatever your budget allows. You don't have to break the bank, but it is nice to buy something a little bit higher end. It's going to last you longer, in my opinion. You guys want to chime in on optics a little bit? What do you think? We've had optics discussions before for rifles, but what do you guys think about this in terms of deer hunting?
So I'm thinking that if I shoot and miss and I don't get a deer this year, not because I didn't see them or not because it wasn't the right time to pull the trigger, but it's simply that I missed, the next year I'm going to get an optic. I don't have a lot of experience with optics, and I'm not against optics. I've stayed away from them. I need to learn them. I got to tell you, when I use that red dot that you got on your AR pistol there, Travis,
the little $15 Bushnell from Wish.com.
Yeah. Okay, from my perspective, I felt like I was cheating, right? I'm like, this is just too easy, right? But the thing is, though, with an optic like that, if you're like me and you don't have a lot of experience, you wouldn't really know the difference between a $15 one and a $200 one. You might not. I mean, I don't think I could tell.
I've had cheap sub $50 dots fail, not hold zero. You can actually watch the little dot moving as you take the shots, even though it was mounted properly. So I gotta say, guys, go with at least a Bushnell or a Tasco, TRS, whatever from Tasco. Go a little bit higher end. I wasted so much money on cheap red dots that I could have just bought something nice from the start and just been done with it. That's my only recommendation. I got lucky with that red dot, and currently Nice Strike has it on the C308. He's using it now. So, you know, but I would never really recommend that for hunting or for any kind of combat or.
Well,
You know, I just do it just to play around with these things. I'm just kind of curious how well they run. That's why I buy them. It's like, okay, are they garbage or are they not? I always want to test them on the channel.
I mean, once again, I go right back to the whole, since I don't have a whole lot of experience with optics, I would think that that's okay for, you know, a sub 100-yard shot if you're not able to pull it off with iron sights for one reason or another. I mean, my eyesight ain't as good as when I was 19, right?
Yeah.
But I still do prefer iron sights. But maybe what I do is get a loophole on sale at Bass Pro or Cabela's. They've got some that are, sometimes they're on sale for under $200.
Yeah, they've got a sub like a VX2 or whatever. They make a good one. I think they might make a 3 to 9x40 for $200, or they make a decent like a 4-power that's going to do the job for you. Sean Pondry says, "Welcome to hunting with fake cogs." Yeah, Terminus Optics makes a knockoff ACOG that supposedly works really well. It's a 3-power, if I'm not mistaken. So, Sean, how's that holding up for you? Why don't you give us some information in the chat? I've seen videos on those fake ACOGs, and apparently they work. You know, if you want something just to play around with, I mean, it's never going to be the same thing as a true ACOG, you know, from Trigicon. But yeah, okay, primary arms, another awesome option too. I think Vortex and primary might share some parts or frames or tubes. There might be something in common that those two have on a few of their scopes that are out there. For a while there, I think Vortex was the better choice because of the lifetime warranty, but I believe primary arms on most, if not all their optics, they have a lifetime warranty now too. So Sean says he's got
arms.
Yeah,
primary arms is great.
And the thing is, they really do listen to their customers, and I like that. They do a lot of really good live chats on Instagram where they show off new products and they take feedback from people. Whoever the dude is that does the live chats, it might be the owner of the company. I'm not sure. The guy that runs Primary Arms, he's a really cool guy, and he really just gets it out there. You know, really gets the information out there, and I think they're a great company. I think that's definitely one to support too. You know, with the loophole scopes, you're going to be looking at American made, I believe, on their whole line. And I'm not so much about their holographic sights and red dots and things like that, but I know that their optics are all American made. So you got that option you can go with. You got the lifetime warranty on those. So, I mean, go with what your budget allows, but don't be afraid to skimp on a little bit better glass. I think you're going to be happier with it in the end. You know, so Nice Strike, again, what's your brand of choice? Sorry, I put you on the spot, man. Or not, I'm sorry. AWAG, what's your brand of choice for optics? I think I said Nice Strike. So
Boyd, let me tell you.
All right, so what do you go with? Was it SWV? Oh, no, that's a hip-hop band for the 90s.
SWFA, Super Sniper Scopes. I absolutely love them. I don't know how many times I've been asked why I choose those specific optics, and most of the time I just like them for their turret track ability. These are long-range rifle scopes. These are not necessarily these are like 200-yard plus rifle scopes. Now you can get away with 100 yards and 50 yards and stuff, but I honestly think that their lowest power magnification models are a little bit too powerful for anything closer than like 100.
Okay.
But they're a really great deal. They're absolutely indestructible scopes. I have 3 of them. So I put them on everything from an AR-15 to a Savage Mark II, which I honestly think is a little overkill. But the way that the crosshairs are set up, it has an interrupted crosshair. Instead of having the reticle itself with 2 intersecting lines that you can't exactly see exactly where your point of aim is, this is interrupted with a small little dot in the center. And although it's etched glass, every part of the reticle is very, very defined. You can make out every single part, and the reticle is calibrated to the turrets as well. So you have an MOA reticle with MOA turrets that are their impeccable tracking ability. The only thing that you can get close to the tracking ability of this $300 scope is something like a US Optics, a Night Force, the $2,000 plus rifle
Steiner,
scopes.
Swarovski.
Yeah.
Is it entry level $300 with that company then?
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
it's pretty inexpensive. They're a 30 mm tube, which means a lot more light than a standard 1-inch
Oh
tube.
yeah, definitely.
Um, they're all assembled and manufactured in Japan, so it's not cheap Chinese glass or cheap Chinese assembly. They're a very thick aluminum tube, so
Okay.
the scope itself.
They've got some mass to them, you're saying, right?
Yeah, they got a little bit of. That's the only downside that I see with them is they are a little heavy. I think they're 14 ounces, or no. Hold on, let me look up on their website. I don't want to be spewing crap out of my butt, you know.
No, that's fine. Real quick, I want to run this. We'll come back to you, Wag. Panda, south of the border, Panda has a question for us. What's our choice of sidearm when we're hunting? This is going to sound crazy, and Sandhills, you might be able to help me on this. I don't carry a backup gun when I deer hunt. I've been worried about getting in trouble with Game and Parks by having, say, my G17 on my hip, even if I want to do like a mercy shot, say like a second shot or whatever. I don't, because that pistol has a higher capacity than 5 rounds, than 6 rounds. I suppose I would maybe carry a revolver with me if I was going to have something as a sidearm, but you really got to watch it, because that gun can be considered your firearm that you have on you. You know, you can't hunt with that. Well, I'm not. Well, yeah, but it's on your person. So you really got to watch out for sidearms when it comes to a round count. You got to make sure that gun's not going to be. That sounds crazy, but I think the people of Nebraska may have been ticketed for it, or may have been arrested for having a pistol on them. I don't know, Sandals, what do you think? Am I out of my head on this one, or what?
No, I've always wanted the same thing, and I might just decide to. We've got a Game and Parks office right here in town.
Dude, I need an answer on that. I've been wondering for years, because I'd love to have a sidearm. What if I run into a coyote, or I run into something, rabbit, a dog, or something, and I can't get my rifle up quick enough? You know.
Here's the thing, though. It's also when in doubt, carry a revolver, because that's not an automatic, so capacity isn't addressed. And
unless you have a 7-round and it's a 6-round limit on your firearm that's on your person, you could have a 7-round 357 mag. You know.
Well, and it's not the limit is only on autos.
Okay.
So unless you're carrying,
see, I thought the reg said that firearm is not any firearm not capable of more than 6 rounds.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can have like a lever gun that'll hold 10 rounds or whatever. That's legal. It's only on automatics that there's a capacity restriction for deer hunting.
Well, everything I've ever had's had a 5-round box mag that I've ever hunted.
Yeah, exactly. So carry a revolver. If you don't have a good 357, maybe it's a good excuse to go get one. And that would work. The other thing is, during deer season, if you carry a center fire, you have to have a valid deer permit or whatever. But I mean, if you hunt anything else, like if you want to hunt on a small game permit during the week of deer season and you don't have a deer permit, then you have to shoot a rimfire or a smoothbore. So I mean, you can hunt with a shotgun, you can hunt with a 22 if you're just out jackrabbit hunting or calling coyotes or something like that, and you don't want to spend the money on a deer permit that week, then you can still do it. So I mean, carry a 22 revolver, even that'll still do a mercy kill.
Just get an H&R for $100, done.
Yeah, carry
you don't have to get a Rough Rider or whatever. Yeah.
So that's an option too. Otherwise, a good revolver is never a bad idea. Plus, I mean, if you hunt open country like I do, I mean, I typically zero 2 inches high at 100 because I don't have a 200-yard range to zero on.
Mm-hmm.
I would zero at 200. But if I've got a deer that steps out, that is 10 yards from me and he doesn't know I'm there, then my scope is worthless. I mean, I've got 2 choices. I can let him go, or I can just look down my barrel and hope that I put the bullet where I want to put it. And neither one of those is really a great option. But if I had a 357, iron sight pistol on my belt, I mean, 10 yards, I'm pretty sure that I can take that deer down in one shot with that too. So
God, yes, easy.
So I mean, it's not just for having a mercy kill. Now here's another thing too. A buddy of mine, where he goes out and archery hunts, he actually there's been some cougar sightings out there, or I don't know about sightings, but there's been tracks and things like that. and he's actually in the market for a good sidearm just to carry with him when he's bow hunting, just in case he would get surprised by a cougar or he would surprise a cougar. He doesn't want his turkey broadhead to try and take down a cat. And if you hunt in an area where there are cougars or bears or anything like that, having a good pistol with you is just smart anyway.
Now, I live in a state that doesn't necessarily believe in freedom. So what about carry restrictions? Like in Maryland, I can carry my handgun around inside my house all day long. If I step out on my front porch, I've just committed a crime. So
how do you get it home from the store and not get arrested?
You can't. You have to have it in the case. You have to have the barrel lock, the chamber lock. You have to have the ammo in separate compartments. All that kind of nonsense.
Nebraska's got open carry. Open carry is allowed for any resident that can legally carry a firearm. Open carry of rifle, shotgun, or handgun. Otherwise, a lot of us have our concealed carry permits too, so you can go that route. Now, concealing while hunting, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
you're not going to get a concealed carry permit in Maryland. It's just about impossible. So I would figure that hunters can't take their handguns out with them if they don't have a permit.
Yeah, if you don't have any open carry laws or anything, you're screwed. I mean, there's no other way to put it. There's nothing you can do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking for the state of Nebraska, as far as concealed carry goes, the only thing that was addressed when I took my course for my permit was snowmobiles. You cannot conceal carry. You can't carry any loaded firearm on a snowmobile in the state of Nebraska. Doesn't matter what it is. Concealed carry, pistol, rifle, whatever it is, it has to be unloaded if you're on a snowmobile. That's the only thing that is discussed when it comes to hunting.
Did they watch True Lies or something?
I don't. Die Hard 2.
Yeah, something.
What about ATVs, four-wheelers or ATVs? We can have them, right? The guys have.
Yeah, four-wheelers, ATVs are okay. Snowmobiles are not.
ATV. I mean, I'm surprised I'm not dead. We used to run the hell out of those things when I was in high school. My buddies had four-wheelers. I love four-wheel ATVs, Suzukis and Kawasaki's, and those things you're jumping and bouncing and flying. I've rolled them before. I've rolled them back on me. I mean, you want to talk about more dangerous than a snowmobile, you know? We have like a 2-week snowmobile season in Nebraska anyway. You can really ride the thing. What difference does it make?
So what I'm saying is there's no law saying you can't conceal carry while you hunt, as long as just like any other time, you've got to have your permit and your ID on you. As long as you're covered there, then you can have your pistol underneath your coat or whatever, which is kind of nice because most of the time when I hunt, I've got a holster on my belt and my coat does cover it up. I've got about 3 layers of coats usually that cover it up.
Yeah, this is true.
But I don't hunt in bear country. I don't hunt in big cat country. So I don't need, quick access to my sidearm. It's just there because I don't feel right going anywhere without it.
Yeah. Real quick. Yeah, AWAG, let's get back to you real quick so you can finish talking about the optics. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I'm going to make a comparison here for people that haven't gotten the message beaten into their skulls yet.
My right side versus my left side? Oh, okay.
Right here we have the Vortex Optics, the PST rifle scope. Their price is $600. Now, granted, it is a 4-16 power, and it's got a 50mm objective lens, so it's going to bring in a lot of light. This is a MOA reticle with MOA turrets. For $600, you get an illuminated reticle, a pretty decent reticle layout, but I've handled these scopes before, and they're really good quality. Don't get me wrong. The turret tracking is not on par per se. Usually with the little dashes that are there, they don't line up all the way, and there's no way to actually adjust for that. They're very user friendly. Other than that, you get all your standard things, and it's 22 ounces.
Yeah.
It's a pretty hefty scope. No rings. The reticle, the glass etched, like everything. It's illuminated, which is pretty good. Personally, I don't see a use for illuminated reticles.
I agree.
But here's what I'm working towards is the maximum windage adjustment and the maximum elevation adjustment. This is 75 MOA. That means you can go half of that up and then half of that all the way down, and it's a total of 75 MOA. The SWFA for $300 gets you the turret tracking that you can actually adjust like to the smallest degree so that these exactly line up to where you want them to. So it is a true zero when you actually dial it in. You get, I mean, it's an ounce lighter. Where is a?
Hey, like, why don't we? Can you do a more specific comparison to what you just showed us from Vortex? Is there something from the company you're talking about right now that would be more comparable in terms of the magnification and the objective lens size?
The objective lens size, they don't really have any issue, any different objective lens size. These are 42 millimeter.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm trying to make the PST look like the better scope, and in some cases it is. But for a scope that weighs 20 ounces and has a total windage adjustment of 140 MOA and an elevation adjustment of 140 MOA, it's pretty much twice the amount of adjustment with a much more accurate scale of the adjustment itself. So, I mean, for half the price, you're getting a much better quality optic. And obviously, I can't stress enough about the interrupted reticle here.
I would disagree. That's a very, I mean, there's a lot of uses. You know, a lot of different rifles you could put that scope on. There's a lot of different applications for it. I think would work well. So that does not have any kind of magnification, though. It's just a fixed power.
It is a fixed 6 power. That is the only thing that you have to give up. But they do have a 3 to 15 power, which is more comparable to the PST in price range. It just doesn't have the illumination.
But to get that MOA adjustment, I mean, that right there is going to make it worth $100 premium. Especially if you're going to do something a little more long range, you want to get out there. What's the eye relief on those? 4 inches?
Eye relief is 4.2 to 3.8, depending on the magnification. But
in my opinion, Daywhite, what do you think about this? Minimum eye relief you should go for in a scope if you're going to buy one should be 4 inches, just because it gives you that.
Yeah, it gives you a good base distance, especially especially on your 30-aught, like the Savage Axis. I shot one of those before I actually wanted to buy one. It's such a lightweight rifle, and in 30-06, oh my gosh, it wants to jump out of your hands, but at the same time, while you're holding it, it's just forcing itself into your shoulder. So it's a very uncomfortable rifle to shoot. So with a scope like this, I would definitely say, yeah, this is a good bet for a rifle like that, because it adds a little bit extra weight and it has that pretty decent eye box. So they have.
We're looking at some of the more premium glass, but at least they've got some entry level stuff too, so you can really get a taste of what their optics are like without having to break the bank. And a lot of guys might think it's crazy to spend as much on your glass as you spend on your rifle, but in the end, it's the shot that's going to count. It's the reason why you bought the rifle in the first place. So, again, I'm not gonna be a glass snob here or an optics snob, but do try to put the money. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older now and I like things that are just a little bit higher quality. Do spend the money and get yourself some premium glass. I think you'll be happier with it. Less distortion. Yeah.
Best deal right here, because you get the 3 to the 15 power. It's a first focal plane optic as well. So you're going to have that hyper accuracy with that reticle, no matter what power you're on. You get basically this $700 scope with a bunch of other accessories like your scope rings, a bubble level, sunshade, and scope covers. You get all that for free, and not only that is they have free shipping on orders over $50.
Lifetime guarantee.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, I will say one thing. When it comes to, you're talking about being made in Japan and stuff. I know a lot of the old cameras and lenses and stuff were Japanese made, and they do have some really. I mean, they've mastered making good glass just in general, just from what's come out of those countries. Optics. Yeah, I mean, you really can't argue with that. So. Yeah, so again, like we're saying, guys, it's all going to depend on your budget. It's going to depend on what kind of terrain you're hunting in. Your magnification level is going to be, it's going to depend a lot on, are we out in a prairie? Are we going to be going through a forest? Do you need a red dot? Holographic? Do you need something, so you're going to need to do a little bit of research when it comes to optics. And again, like I said, if you don't know what to go with, just go with maybe a brand name you might recognize. You'll be a lot less disappointed in the end. But there's a lot of other good companies out there. Like AWAG, I hadn't heard of that brand before you talking about it initially. So, I didn't really know much about it. And I looked it up. I was like, man, they offer a lot of, especially with those MOA adjustments, those guys that really like to reach out there. Once you go beyond 500 yards, you're going to need to compensate for that bullet drop. So it's going to make it a lot easier for you to still be accurate and be able to do what you're doing. So,
and
yeah, go ahead.
Another little bit of a testament to the scopes themselves is I own 3 of them. I've gone out and spent almost, actually a little more than $900 on 3 different scopes for 3 different rifles that I have, and they're incredible. I've dropped these basically I've dropped these rifles by accident on the scope, and it's completely messed up the exterior of the scope, but it holds 0 like its job was supposed to hold 0, and it does that very, very well.
Oh yeah.
I've taken my one rifle out to a class where I was working those turrets all day. We were ranging out from 100 yards to 300 to 500, and then back to 300, and then back out to 500, then out to 700. So I'm moving these turrets up and down over the course of a few hours, and I've got it back to the 100-yard 0, and it's still pinpoint every time.
So. Hey, just a little question here, just for guys that are on the panel. So Jim or David, do you guys have any questions all about optics, or are you guys kind of curious about that? I know, or maybe Squibby, you guys are Squib. I know you said that you don't do a whole lot with optics, you guys, because AWAG's here to answer the questions if you have them. You guys kind of curious at all about optics, what to go with or what to do?
I've just been listening. I might. He's talked about this type of optic before, and I'm definitely intrigued. I'm looking. Not necessarily for hunting, so I may get with him offline.
That dot, I think that dot would be really nice, because that's one of the most annoying things is the crosshairs. If you have thick crosshairs in the scope, it really can block a lot of your bullseye, and you might be off 1 or 2 inches on the bullseye because you can't quite get it centered where you want it, whereas the dot would be a lot more precise. Those MOA adjustments are going to be nice too, especially if you want something that's going to be flexible to handle 100 yards out to 1,000. It's also a possibility too. So again, a lot of options there for you. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is, what do you guys think about camo? What are your thoughts on camo for deer hunting? Do you guys think you're going to go out and buy any exotic patterns? Or are you going to go get anything crazy? Seems like every year they've got a new camo pattern coming out, and they've got scent block this and that. What's your guys' take on camo? What do you think in general?
Here's one of the topics I was glad that you covered, because this has been full disclosure. I haven't shot an animal since I was like 9 years old.
Okay.
People spend all the money on the camo and the scent block and do all these different kinds of things.
Yep.
Then they wrap themselves in a giant orange jumpsuit. So do deer not see the color orange, or does the orange act as a camouflage? Like, I don't understand why you get all the camo and then have to wear a bright orange.
The orange it's a legal thing. They want you to have a bright color so another hunter can see you, so you don't get shot by the other hunter, because there are some unfortunate incidents where you've got a lot of people hunting on private or on public land, and they just shoot at anything that moves.
Yeah.
So
I totally understand. I totally understand the human being, but why buy all the camo? Can the deer see that bright orange?
Yeah, to answer your question, David, no, they can't see the colors. The camo is more important for the archery hunters than it is for the rifle hunters, because with archery, you're going to be, 10, 20, maybe 40, 50 yards away from the deer at the most when you take your shot. Plus, it helps break up your outline if you're in a tree stand or whatever. But a lot of guys wear the same camo, whether they're bow hunting, rifle hunting, whatever. The deer can't see the orange, but the thing is, you're gonna shoot that deer. Chances are it doesn't even know you're around anyway. It hasn't even had a chance to smell you.
Yeah.
Deer eyesight isn't that great if you hold still. their eyes are designed to pick up movement, but deer noses and deer ears are crazy good. So scent control is really key, especially if you're in an area where you can really only hunt one spot on a piece of land or something like that. Then you've got to make sure that you don't give your position away to their noses if they're coming at you from downwind of you. But no, the camo thing is more for the archery hunters than it is for the rifle hunters, to be honest. Also, it just makes you feel cool.
Well, and part of it too is you're going to get dirty when you're out hunting. You're going to get stuff all over you. So I like to wear stuff that I can wash. That's an outside layer. So why not just get something kind of rugged, like some bib, some bibs or
but where
coveralls, or I'll go camo and a nice something you can wash up and get dirty and clean and stuff. Yeah.
Where I go hunting, a good brown duck that's really broken in, weathered, and kind of softer, a tan, something like that. That's just as good a camo as realtree or mossy oak or any of those. But again, the biggest thing is to either have something to hide behind or break up your outline and hold still. But chances are with the firearm, the deer's not going to know that there's a human in the area at all. You're going to completely surprise them with that bullet. And you should with an arrow too, but it's just a lot harder.
When I look at pictures of my family members, we have family photos. I look at my grandpa, photos of my grandpa when he was younger, or photos of my aunts and uncles, or my uncles on my dad's side. They were all avid hunters. Man, when they're sitting there with their game that they've shown up, because there's pictures I got family members with their strings of ducks. They're wearing blue coveralls, red plaid coat, straight up Elmer Fudd, and they had successful hunts. So again, the camo isn't necessarily the big deal. It's nice. It's good to have. It can assist you. It can make it maybe give you a little bit more efficient hunt, but it's not necessary. I mean, archery, again, like for archery, yes, you need to be turkey hunting. Yeah, I get it. You need to blend in with your background, but and again, it does kind of look cool. It's kind of like, yeah, I got the camo. I'm out hunting. You know who the hunters are because they come in with the, the mossy oak breakup coveralls going on and all that stuff. And,
when we're on the conversation of camouflage, now I know that most people are not into standard military camouflages, but for some weird reason, I really like one of two camouflage patterns, and that is the Finnish MO5. From where I live, this would be the perfect camouflage.
Okay.
Because we get a lot of that pine forests. We got the very deep, dark colored like leaves and things. Sure. So this would be pretty good. Another one is the Rhodesian tiger stripe camouflage. I really like this camouflage pattern.
Again, you need to look around your surroundings. Is that go buy a t-shirt with that on there and go take it off in the woods and just maybe hang it over a tree and go back 100 yards and look at it. Does it blend in? Mm-hmm. If it does, go with it. Especially kids. Yeah.
At the same time, in a team perspective, say if you're out hunting with a buddy and you're all wearing a specific camouflage, like especially the Rhodesian camos and like those kind of exotic camos that people don't normally wear, it could be an identifier as well if you do end up seeing the person. Like it's like, hey, he's wearing that camouflage pattern. I know who he is.
Yeah, this is true. I'm not against going with any kind of army surplus too, because you can drop on a coat and pants. You can drop as much on camo. I was just looking through the Cabela's catalog last night. You can drop as much on that as you did on your rifle. I mean, you can spend $300 on pants and whatever you want on a coat. There's no limit to coats anymore. My God, you can spend $500, $600 on a hunting coat, more than that. I mean, it's depending on the brands you go with, whether you go with like Under Armour or North Face or Patagonia or whatever. I mean, depending on the brands you go with. So I don't think you necessarily have to have an expensive camo. And if that's a military surplus or it's a fair price on the coat, maybe get it in Gore-Tex or something. I think you would definitely be sitting good. So yeah, for camo, a lot of the times, when you go to your local sporting goods stores, they're going to carry the pattern that's popular for that area where you live. And our Walmart does that too. They usually have some of the more tan, kind of prairie-looking camos in stock when they sell the pants and coats and stuff like that. So it's going to be more with the region. So you definitely want to make sure you know what you're going with. I'm sure some of these higher-end companies might have suggested camo patterns for where you live. They might be able to tell you specifically, this is what people wear, but again, a lot of the times don't fall necessarily for the marketing part of it. One of the comments made earlier, this is by Rich White, don't use flowery soaps before you go deer hunting. You know, you can get neutral, non-scented, you know, hygienical products, deodorant. If you need stuff, you can put it on and not have to worry about your scent giving up. I know a lot of guys will hang their deer stuff outside for a couple days before season. Depending on where you live, where you are, it kind of absorbs those outside odors and gets the inside odors out of the clothing so that it's more neutral when you go out there. Especially where we live, when you've got strong winds, I mean, you've got a 25-mile-an-hour wind, 20-mile-an-hour north wind or south wind. It's like Sandhill said, their smell and their hearing is amazing. If they get a whiff of, you know, whatever, that lavender, you know, softener that your wife used on the laundry, they're going to jet. That's not a normal chemical smell. We're gone. You know, they could look at you, see movement, smell you, and they're gone. So I think the scent is a bigger deal maybe than a lot of people think, especially if you're going to be hunting at a closer distance too. So keep that in consideration. But David, to answer your question, yeah, go with whatever camo is going to be more local to your region. You know, and again, for price, it's the sky's the limit. Whatever you want to spend on camouflage clothing. Well, boots too. Same situation with boots, whatever you want to go with. Real quick over on the YouTube side, you know, we're talking about rifles a little bit. You know, Mossberg, Remington, Savage, Howa, Thompson. Okay, so Sandhill shooter. Let's see. You said you loved your Thompson Center Venture rifle. The compass feels cheap. Yeah, they are inexpensive. I mean, those compasses, I think I've seen them for like $249 or $279. Yeah, Mossberg Patriot, Savage, Axis. You got your Ruger American rifles. I'm kind of
a snob when it comes to rifles. I mean, the Ruger American and the TC Venture are the only two that I've found that I think for sub $500 guns, they don't feel cheap.
Yeah.
You know, the TC Venture, the Ruger American, they feel like a Savage 110 or a Remington 700. I mean, they all feel about the same when you run
synthetic stocks, you know,
run the bolts,
pads,
stuff like that. You know, it's just they don't feel like they're put together cheap. They don't grind when you turn the bolt or when you slide it back and forth. You know, and that to me, I think is kind of where I get that feel for it. So yeah, I loved my Venture. I'm hoping one day I'll have another one. But yeah, I don't know. I just can't get behind the feel of that compass. And I've tried the Patriot rifle. I've tried the Savage Axis and Axis 2. The 2 feels a little better than the original Axis. But if I was gonna buy what they call the budget or the bargain rifle,
yeah,
it's probably gonna be Ruger or the Venture.
The Ruger American Ranch, you know, I got one of the early 7.62x39s. I was a little disappointed with the machining inside the receiver. It was a little rough, but now that I quit counting number of rounds. You're probably 400 or 500 rounds through it. Oh God, yeah, you can actually start to see some of the smoothing going on. And so, just to show you what we're running here, this scope I've not tested yet. This is a Piney Pro, 6-24. Oh no, I've tested this one. This is the X Aegis. I'm sorry, I've got a Piney Pro upstairs. I'm gonna test out on an AK. So, but yeah, the Ruger Ranch. What's nice about it? You got the adjustable trigger. I believe it's between 3 and 5 pounds. You know, you've got an all metal construction. It does have a cold hammer forged barrel that's threaded, so you can put a suppressor on it if you want to. I mean, I absolutely love this thing. I would buy another one in any caliber if I had a chance. So, I mean, I really don't think you can go wrong. But yeah, the inside of the receiver, and I can't really show it off easy, but it was pretty rough when I got it, and those little swirly marks and stuff have finally worked themselves out. I mean, the bolts, it's not as nice as Sandhill's Browning that he owns, but it's also, for what it is, you know, sub $400. And like I said, to get this caliber, I didn't have a lot of options, you know. I had to go with, you know, with this because the CZ was about $300 more.
How
and the CZ mags. What's that?
How a minis make it in 7.62x39?
Okay, how much?
I just had brownells up. I'll look it up real quick.
Okay.
Brownells.
Yeah, the how? Yeah, there's some other options out there. I know that Zastava has like an M77 or something you can get, but they're a little hard to find. But you know, if you can get it under 500, yeah, the Howa might be a little bit higher quality. But again, cold hammer forged barrel. I figured I'm going to be putting a lot of rounds through this thing, and it's got like a nitron finish on the outside of it. It's got the same kind of bolt releases, the Ruger Precision rifle, which is nice. Only thing I would complain about with this thing, only thing I don't like about it, all right, it's a non-standard Picatinny rail up on the top. It's got weird spaces, like the front and the rear Picatinny sections here are not mil-spec. So you're always having to move your rings to get the stuff to sit on it properly. In the middle, you got this thick chunk right here. So you're kind of limited with where you put your scope and how you mount it. I wish they would have just put a standard Picatinny. There's probably something aftermarket I could buy for this too, but this is what comes with it from Ruger, and it is metal. So it's nice because you can put anything on there from a red dot to holographic sight, or if you want to put a nice optic on top of there, it'll definitely do the job. So to me, that's one of my favorite rifles right now. And I just love the flexibility of it. It's almost that caliber is almost the Swiss Army knife of calibers because you can do so much with it. Anything from varmint to medium-sized, large game, I suppose, depending on what round you're shooting through it. So that'd be kind of a recommendation. But okay, so we covered optics, we covered camo options. Sandhills, can you give us kind of a summary of what you'd recommend for processing items for the field? We're not going to get into how to field strip a deer. We've covered that before in the episode called "Now That I Shot the Deer, What Do I Do with It?" But Sandhills, what do you recommend for processing? Minimum. What do you need to, when you're out in the field, everything from gutting it to getting it home, what do you think?
I was hoping you'd ask me that.
Yep. I want to try this magical knife in June or in January. Yeah.
Have you seen one of these before? This is from Outdoor Edge. This is called the Swing Blade. Actually, this one is called, I don't know if I can get that to pick that up, the Swing Blaze. Because it's got the orange handle, not the black handle. I had a black one, and I almost lost it one night trying to dress out a deer in the headlights of the pickup. So I've got the orange one now because it is so much easier to find.
Yeah.
What you can't see on the camera, this handle is rubberized. It's really grippy. Even when your hands are wet or slippery or whatever, it's really grippy. It's got that nice deep-bellied blade as far as skin or whatever like that. But once you get your incision made in your deer, there's this little button right there. And if you press that button, that'll lock into this position. You've got that blade, and it's got a blunt tip, and then it's not really a gut hook, but you just make your incision and then just put your here. Let me do it kind of like this. Put the blade edge up, and then just zip it right up your deer, and this thing will open up the hide slicker than anything. And with that blunt tip, what's really cool is when I'm reaching inside and doing the messy stuff, and I'm cutting loose all the connective tissue that holds everything in place, I use this one more than I use this one inside the cavity, just so I'm not poking stuff I don't want to poke and nicking things I don't want to nick, and things like that. So I've got that knife there from Outdoor Edge. I've got another one that works really well just for doing some of the other trimming up work and stuff. It's not quite as deep, but this is just a lock back, but it's got exchangeable blades.
Okay.
So when one goes dull, you can sharpen them up a time or two, and then you just throw them away. Blades aren't that expensive for these, and it comes with 6, and this is number 2. I think I've got 4 left. Okay. Now, the last time we talked about this, a couple weeks ago, I was commenting that I want to find something for the back end of the deer, trimming around the bum and things like that to get the hide loose without just hacking up all the really good meat back there. And Tony York was actually the one that suggested the little Rapala 4-inch
like fillet knife.
So I picked one of those up when I was in Cabela's last, and this one has not been used on a deer yet. These other 2 have, but that's what I've got for my setup for knives. Any knife, as long as it's sharp and you know what to do with it, is better than a dull one. But that's what I use. And then when it's time to skin them, I use the same knives. The little Rada cutlery sharpener. It's just 2 little steel discs. And once one goes dull, a few zips through that and touch the blade up enough to go back to skinning again. So that's what I carry in my kit. As far as other gear, gloves are not a bad idea. I carry exam gloves, and I carry in Nebraska, we call them AI gloves. The full length, shoulder length plastic sleeve gloves that you can use to artificially inseminate cattle or whatever. If you're gonna use those, get a couple rubber bands, or else they're just gonna fall right down your arms. But secure those. Those can keep you a lot cleaner. Especially if you're in a place where you're not close to a house, to wash right up. Because there's nothing worse than than having a nice vehicle, getting yourself all messy, and then you got to get back in and drive that vehicle somehow. You know, carry some water with you for drinking and for cleaning up, and flashlight. If you have a blood tracker light, that's cool. You might need that. You might not. But
good headlamp too. Get yourself a nice rechargeable headlamp you can use.
Yeah, the other thing that I use all the time here is my headlight.
Yep.
So this is just a cheap Bushnell light from Walmart, but it's adjustable angle.
Yep.
And you know, it just takes one AAA battery or AA battery, whichever it is. It doesn't cost a lot to put a battery in it every year, so it's good to go. Having a light that points where you look is invaluable. It's so much easier than having a second person holding a flashlight, because it's never right where you want it to be, no matter how many times you tell them shine it here. You know, unless you've been hunting with the same person for a long time, they can't read your mind. So just having your own light on your head, that's worth a lot, whether it's on the bill of your cap or however you do it. So that's kind of the rest of my gear, along with some calls and various food and drink items, which is probably more important than the calls.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you don't have to you don't have to completely buy every single little gadget and toy that they're selling in the hunting department at your local sporting goods store, Walmart, and so on. And back to real quick about that Howa. AWAG was saying that they are $470 for the Howa Mini Action 762 by 39, $470. Ruger Ranches have gone up in price a little bit. I'm seeing $430 at Bud's Guns for the 762 by 39. So I'd almost say go Howa. It might have a little bit nicer trigger, a little bit nicer finish to it.
Although I will complain about the magazine prices. They're like $60 for a 5-round magazine.
I'm seeing $39.99. That's what I was seeing over on Bud's. $40 for a 5-round mag. Okay. Whereas your American Ranch does you can use the mini 30 mags in the Ruger American Ranch. In the Ruger American Ranch, you can use the 10 rounds, the 20 rounds.
Yeah, see, that's a good.
Now you can't use 10 or 20 rounds while you're actually out hunting the deer.
I know, but it's still a benefit. Over
I like that flexibility. Well, yeah, for range sessions and stuff, it's nice not to stop every 5 rounds and reload, because I'm always running through. I've only got one 20 rounder for mine. I've got a 20 and a 5, mainly because they're like $40 or $50 a piece, and they're really hard to find locally. I basically have to order them online if I want to find one around here anywhere. So they're just pricey magazines, but that's just kind of how Ruger does it.
All right, I'm gonna hop out, guys.
No problem, man. It's all good. Cool. No, it's all right. So, you know, guys, I think we'll probably get ready to wrap it up, because as Squibby's taking us on a supermarket sweep of Cabela's. Oh, he's checking out the powders.
Cabela's in Dundee, Michigan, is the first Cabela's they put in the state.
Nice.
So a lot of people come down here. This is just on the way. I need to restock some reload supplies. So, but I don't see what I'm looking for, unfortunately.
See, I'm telling you, the pumpkin spice is in the air. They're busy, aren't they?
You know, it does have a slight hint of pumpkin in here, but
yes, the fall is strong with this one. Yes, the autumn.
I'm wondering, though, can I mix pumpkin spice with my powder for better results?
Okay, if they can make pumpkin spice lottery tickets, I'm sure you can do pumpkin spice scented black powder.
Yeah, there you go.
I was talking about that earlier. So I know there's a company that made scented car tires back in the day that would put down like purple and blue tread marks and red tread marks. Like back in the early days of Too Fast, Too Furious, there were companies that made scented tires. So if we can do scented tires and scented lotto tickets, you might need to develop a pumpkin spice scented round. You know, to come with like a nice orange casing with it. And
Or could I season the bullet, and then when it passes through the deer, it already starts the process.
Leaves that essence of pumpkin spice in the deer meat. I don't see why not. I mean, I definitely think it would work out well. So,
man, I'm feeling so basic white girl at the moment.
No, guys, we're just kidding. Like I said, after naming this the pumpkin spice episode, you know, we had to got to get the pumpkin spice out there somewhere. So
the pumpkin spice must flow.
Yes. Just it starts with your creamer and it works its way into your black powder, and before you know it, I'm telling you, when we were at Petco last weekend. They opened up a new one out here, PetSmart, one of the two. They had pumpkin spice flavored dog treats, turkey jerky dog treats. I'm like, what? I mean, I think they try to appeal to the owners more than they do the animals themselves sometimes. So I thought that was kind of funny, but yeah. Oh God. Okay, Jim, you said bonus points to anyone who gets that reference. What is that from? What is that from?
Oh, come on.
The pumpkin
Somebody
spice
knows.
news,
Wait,
that
what
one?
was it again?
Matt
What?
knows. The pumpkin spice must flow.
I'm totally drawing a blank right now. I don't know.
Matt
Today's not. I've only had one cup of coffee this morning, so I'm very slow.
It's Dune.
It's what?
Dune.
Oh, Dune. Oh, yeah. No, I know the spice
Oh, the
reference.
spice.
Yeah, I was thinking the spice, not the pumpkin spice. I thought it was like a joke from like a new show or something or a movie. I was,
No.
well, yeah,
It's
yeah,
an
yeah.
adaptation of Dune.
There you go. There you go. Right on, man. Oh, man. And on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So I want to thank AWAG for being with us today, and also NEA Matt. He was with us for a while. Matt, thanks for joining us. Let's go ahead and let the panel close it out. We'll see who was with us for our episodes on gunchannels.com and also on YouTube, and then we'll talk about next week. So, David Bolin, we'll start with you. Anything you want to say before we go ahead and call it? It's been a good 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah.
Go check out my channel. Let me know what you guys think. And just as a side note, somebody that we all see in the chat rooms, his birthday was yesterday. So if you see Mad Sexy in the chat room, wish him a happy birthday.
Mad Sexy Man of the Night. What is he? He's 40? Is that right? Is that what I saw? He's in the 40 club now?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think he turned 40 yesterday. It was the 21st.
I think you should go out and buy like a gun for your age, like your caliber 40. Go get a 40, a 44 for like 357. You can be like 35.7 years old. You go out and buy 357. 50, go get a 50. 22 and you're 22.
It's funny that you say that because I got my first pistol the day after my birthday, and it was a 40 cal, but I was 41 when I got it. So
okay. Well, then you got to go to 41 mag or whatever. I'm sure there's a 41 something out there for you. Oh, that's awesome. But no, thanks for joining us, man. I do appreciate it. Like you said, somebody like yourself that's kind of just getting into things and being somewhat firearms restricted. It's nice to kind of get some feedback out to you and hear from you. And so anyway, guys, do check out David's channel. It's pretty cool. If you're a Ruger fan, you're definitely going to find something you like there, I think. Good videos. I like your shooting videos where you just show off, just shooting, just show how we shot this gun. Those are kind of nice. It kind of gives you an idea if something's going to work for you or not. So that's always cool too. Awesome, man. All right. Jim, any final words of wisdom before we go?
Nope. Thanks for the invite. One of these days, I'm going to post some videos.
Hey, that's cool, man. Do that. Get that. Do a video for that first deer hunt.
Right.
When we go out with Sandhills, I'll have the camera with me, but we can do a little bit of filming and stuff, and maybe copy some of the cliches of some of the hunting shows that they have on TV and things like that.
Man,
there was one less. Oh, looks like Sandhills. I answered it. Never mind.
Yeah. All right.
I was going to say I'm all down for just running the camera and recording you getting a deer on film.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
That would be cooler to me than going and shooting my own.
Be sponsored by Hornady and Runza. There you go. Anyway, all right, Jim. So thanks for joining us, man. I do appreciate it, and hopefully you kind of planted that seed in your head, so you're going to go out there and buy yourself a rifle pretty soon. Again, you guys could just tell your wives and significant others that Travis said that you have to have one. You don't have a choice. It's peer pressure. Travis P. Levin said you have to buy one. What's that?
It's for meat in the freezer.
Exactly. It's for food. It's for food reasons. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. All right. Sandhills, want to close out with anything? Any final words of wisdom from you, sir?
I don't know how much wisdom there's going to be in my words, but thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And again, not this Tuesday, but Tuesday, October 2nd, 9 o'clock Central. I'll be looking at my channel for the first ever 2A Tuesday. It's going to be a 2A Every Second Matters Tuesday chat the first time.
2A every day, baby. 2A every day.
Yeah. I was going to do last week, I was going to do a deer hunting chat there too. I think we've pretty well covered everything as far as that goes. We may still have one because I want to talk about deer sometime.
Yeah.
Not just the rifles or the camo, but I want to talk about actual deer and tactic and stuff like that. I've got a few people that commented some ideas there too. So I think we'll have that one of these nights sometime in October, but the first one's going to be for Every Second Matters. So
cool.
Otherwise, where I can, not this week again, but when I can, I'll be on Hit or Miss Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern. And then you can almost always catch me, at least for the first half hour, right here on Caliber Corner.
Awesome, man. Dude, I appreciate you joining in, and I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of stuff going on. You got 2 jobs you're working, and damn, you got everything going on. So, man, busy guy. But thanks for joining us, man. I do appreciate it. And again, I look forward to chatting with you, doing the deer chat. That's good stuff, man. All right. So hopefully we covered everything we need to from the chat. Getting some good feedback on the YouTube side. Squibby, what do you think, buddy? What do you know, man?
I think I'm going to spend more money than I probably should.
I am going to Cabela's today. I'm going to try to restrict myself to ammo only. I don't buy my guns from Cabela's. I buy them locally. I do buy from SS Pawn when I can, as much as I can. But when it comes to ammo and stuff, you might not have many options, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that I buy half my ammo in stores and the other half. Well, no, I should say I buy a third. I buy a third. I don't want to say locally. I'll say at a retail establishment, because like when I travel, if I'm in another state, I'm stopping at gun stores and stuff like that, stocking up. But about a third that way, about a third online, and about a third I reload. And with the reloading, you get the hazmat fee, which isn't a deal breaker, and sometimes you can get the free hazmat stuff. But if I'm in a place like here at Cabela's where I can get some reload supplies, I think I'm going to pick them up. The thing is, though, the powder I'm looking for that 44 special load I'm doing, they don't have it here. So I'm going to have to order it anyhow. But I can't just walk away.
Oh, I know. It's not good. And luckily for ours, they've taken away the bargain cave. We don't have it anymore in our store. When Bass Pro took it over, they took that was bad, because you go back and you start finding all these little things on clearance you start picking up. And sometimes you can get some really good deals, like some odd magazines or some holsters and stuff. So yeah, look at this. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you take a deal whenever you can get it, and the thing with me is I try to make notes or save the empty packaging or tear a top off a box or something like that and keep it in my truck. That way, when I'm out, I'm like, oh, I need this, I've got it. But then there's other stuff that's like, after I leave the store, I go, oh crap, I forgot to get that. It doesn't really matter what I do. I'm always going to forget something.
No, man, it happens. I understand.
Gotta feed the beast.
There you go.
If I end up staying here all morning, I'll never get to Dusty's farm. So, all right, I need to make my purchase and get out of here.
Our Cabela's has the candy shop thing on the left side when you walk in, so you can smell candy and caramel and stuff being cooked up over on the left side. It's like, oh, this is gonna be bad. They used to have free coffee at our Cabela's too. I think they do that in the wintertime here. They got free coffee, which I'm a sucker. Yeah.
This one might have I think they've got a restaurant in it. This is one of the big ones. You know how they got the big ones and the small ones?
Ours is
you go to Kearney, right?
Yeah, it's not even not even the open ceiling concept like that. It's one. I think it's the second Cabela's that was ever built. It's tiny. It really, Kearney does deserve a larger one for what it is and just the number of people out there. But yeah.
So that the equivalent of that here is Chesterfield Township, Michigan, which is about an hour due east of me. So if I need to go to Cabela's, I'll go there. But I mean, there's a Bass Pro shop that's 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
That's bigger. And now with Bass Pro and Cabela's merging, you kind of get the same selection. But I will say this, though, for reloading, I've always thought Cabela's had more stuff in their stores. They probably get the same amount of stuff online. But
yeah, I think from the marketing standpoint, when Bass Pro bought out Cabela's, they were going to keep the Cabela's clothing lines going and accessories, because Cabela's got a complete line of clothing, shoes, camping stuff. And then also the firearms side, I thought maybe they said the firearms and ammo might be a little more elite if you go to Cabela's versus Bass Pro, like what they offer, the number of rifles, the types of rifles, and things like that. I could be wrong, but I've read, when that merger happened, what was going to be the end result of it. So, and I think they probably were going to close down, because a lot of times they'd build a Cabela's across from the Bass Pro shops, and I think those Cabela's were probably going to be closed down. But the ones that are separate, different sides of town, a distance away from each other, they're going to keep them. So,
well, I mean, with the Cabela's too, you got the gun library. You don't have that at a Bass Pro.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for an older gun that's collectible, or you've just been dying to get this thing, they may have it in the gun library. You'll pay some money, but
yeah,
it's kind of nice having it. It kind of breaks away from the big box feel of the store.
Oh, definitely.
Because I mean, this is the Lowe's or Home Depot of gun stores. So.
Oh yeah. That's pretty cool, man. They got a nice selection there. I'm jealous. All right. So Squib, again, thanks for joining us, man. I do appreciate it. Real quick, let's see who was over on the gun channel side. I want to say something real quick, too. Guys, with gun channels and also on YouTube, make sure that you follow GWeb's, what's the gun websites. Make sure you check out his channel. because he's been posting a lot of really good videos lately. He was doing the gun show loophole tour and showing off all these cool spots. Unfortunately, I was at work when he drove by, so I wasn't able to meet up with him in Nebraska. But he did get to go to the Hornady ammunition plant, which he said was really cool. Got to go to a lot of really neat places in Nebraska when he was driving through. But yeah, do check out his channel. He's been putting out some really good videos, and I Patreon support him, and he puts out some really good content on Patreon before it drops on his regular channel. So do give G-Web some support, gun websites or gear websites if you haven't checked them out. Also go to gunchannels.com, get signed up for an account over there if you don't have one. Subscribe to everybody on this panel if they've got content. Do check it out. Subscribe on YouTube and Gun Channels. So real quick, let's see who's with us on the Gun Channel side. We had Patrick over there, and Jim was over there and here. Sandhills was there and here. Paper Plane Crash was with us too. Ohio 45 ACP, I see you out there too. We missed Tony today. I don't know, man. Tony missed the deer chat. He's probably out hunting right now. Again, the pumpkin spice has got him too. So again, over on the YouTube side, Rich Wright was with us. Jim was with us. Sandhill Shooter, Tacos and French Fries, South of the Border Panda. Good questions, Panda. I really like that. Roosted Films was with us today. Tim Foley, Sam of Anarchy 92. Let's see, Sean Ponry out there. Man, a lot of you guys are with us today. This is good stuff. Let's see, Guitar Man Pete was out there. Again, not to miss anybody. Midnight Range TM was in the house. Scott P79, 2 Live Moo, Scott 330. I think we're going to start having a Scott eye instead of a Trav eye here pretty soon. David G was out there also. Let's see, hopefully we didn't miss anybody. Heavy B checked in. Hello, Heavy B, welcome. Again, thanks for joining us. Tim Foley in the house. So Mad Sexy was out there too. Happy birthday, Mad Sexy, man of the night. And Samson won. Gizzard Gary out there too. So guys, I want to go ahead and call it. I want to thank you all for joining me. Next week we should have an episode. I don't know. We'll have to check and see. I've got a close friend that's coming up with his wife and kids, depending on what they decide to do next weekend. If there isn't going to be an episode, I will post a quick update and I'll let you know. I'll put it on all the outlets and all the networks. If you don't see a listing for the episode on my chat or my listing, you guys know there won't be one, but there should be one. But right now, it kind of depends on my buddy and his wife what they're doing, and we will go from there. So anyway, guys, this has been Caliber Corner episode number, what are we at, 59. This was the Fall Deer Hunt Pumpkin Spice Edition. So thanks for joining us today. Hopefully we gave you some good advice for rifles, ammo, camo, just a little bit of everything you might need to know. So it's been a good episode. So thanks for joining us, guys, and we will talk to you next week.
Alpha Mike Foxtrot.
Adios, Felicia.
Oh, let me translate that. Goodbye, Felicia.
Bye-bye, Felicia.
Well,
yeah, Felicia. Ich bin Eichbuschen Felicia. Yeah, that's not even real German, by the way, guys. But do check out Matt's Friday night chats. Yeah, Strudel time, game time. I think
yeah. He was missing you last night.
With our family coming to stay with us, we had to clean house, and I told Matt I got to enjoy his chat while scrubbing toilets. So yeah, it was. I would have rather been playing video games, but had to get the house cleaned up, had to get some laundry done. Yep.
Scrubbing toilets in his chat, that's the same thing, right? I'm just kidding.
No comment. No, he's a good guy. So
no,
anyway, guys, all right. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Remember, keep a poke with Ghibli. All right, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you later. All right, peace out.